Okay, we're going.
In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty hole with wet, oozy smells. Okay. You guys arrive at the gates, air quotes, of Lake Town. Lake Town is so named because it's where the survivors of the village of village of Dale sort of took up stock once Smaug destroyed their home, and they sort of built this shit village on top of a lake. They never heard the Swamp Castle bit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, so they're doing all right. You know, they do a lot of trading, mostly with barrels. And they're getting on. You know, they got a lot of fish. They've got a lot of fish.
No.
You know, they're doing all right. They're doing all right. You are aware that the town of Lake Town is run by the master of Lake Town, one Lord Melchett, attended by his two simpering toadies, Lord Blackadder and Lord Baldric.
Mm-hmm.
And that Lake Town welcomes visitors. It has people from out of town all the time, so this is probably one of the few places where you guys won't look too out of place. Although they're not super fond of orcs, most places aren't. There's a little bit of racism. And they're probably not none too trustful of elves and dwarves, for that matter. Well, we do a lot of trading with the elves, and in the past they did a lot of trading with dwarves, so it should be fine.
So we won't look out of place except for the fact that we totally will.
Yeah, you know. It's like any visit to the city.
What I imagine Arena looks the most out of place still.
Yeah. As you guys ride up, you hear someone shout, "Oh there! Coming or going?"
A little column A, a little column B.
I am a firm believer of both. We are always coming and going in the metaphorical sense of everything.
A tall, stocky, middle-aged woman approaches from the gates. She has a quiver of arrows on her back and a bow in her right hand. She says, "I am Barb, the bow woman."
Wow.
Howdy, I'm Crambone, a music man, hobbit. Hobbit.
"You are a strange crew. What is your business in Lake Town?"
Looking for a place to shack up, I guess? I think
All right, well, there's a couple of inns over there and over there. She's pointing them out. But what is the purpose of your visit?
Something about dealing with a dragon.
Belmont kind of looks at you, Erna, like, really?
Really?
We're gonna eat Smaug.
Such was actually not saying anything this time on purpose.
And Stephen Colbert emerges from beneath some of the wood planking, and he pulls off his eye patch so that he can look at you with both eyes and goes, "Did you say Smaug? Yes, this is how Stephen Colbert talks."
Why is there a bear?
Is that bear
not a
drink?
bear.
No,
Stephen
this is our
Colbert.
friend Stephen Colbert.
I 100% believe you entirely. That is a normal human person. The Crambone leans over to the nearest person. I don't know who'd be standing next to him. I didn't realize human dudes got that hairy. Why do we call the dwarves hairy?
Stephen Colbert reaches down and pulls out a jar of honey and begins dipping his very hairy hands into it and eating mouthfuls of it while he asks, "So, you're going to attack Smog?"
Maybe. We'll see how it goes.
Won't he get... Oh, it's so good. Won't he get angry? That's true, travelers. We have not had trouble with the dragon for quite some time. It would be a shame to rouse Smaug's ire for no reason. We're not really talking about the dragon. That's a fun joke my friends have because I'm from Erebor and sometimes I talk about being angry.
Yeah, we like to yank his chain a little bit. We're here for trade mostly. And I like singing. I'm
yes, we're here for trade.
I'm on tour.
And Belmont smiles.
You know what? No, I'm gonna roll a persuasion. This is how I do things. I am a
I'm gonna
bard.
help him.
Let me roll a persuasion.
I'm a help.
So will I.
Damn, I rolled shit.
Oh my god! Oh! Gordon?
Okay.
You won.
So, Dorothy, what do you say to help Gray?
We're on vacation. Thought we'd just see the sights, you know. Uncle Crambone's always looking to spread his music, try and build his fan base.
Exactly. I'm trying to get out to more taste. See, folks where I come from think I am a very not good singer.
And
they're a
Sotra, what
bunch
do
of
you say to
fucks.
help?
All I know, Trambone is a wonderful musician.
Maybe get a deal for some merch.
That hurt when you said that, Sotra.
Barb-
Her face is in pain.
Barb the bowwoman strokes her chin and says, well, the elf seems to be forcing falsehoods, but these two hobbits have the word of truth among them.
Yes, Dorothy's finally being recognized as what she is.
Well, if you would ply your trade, we do have a small concert hall over there. It's recently
Excellent.
built.
I get to sing again. It's gonna be fun.
Sotram has just been rolling so bad. She's
You know, sometimes a bad roll is a good roll in disguise.
yeah. The best rolls she's gotten have been for intimidation.
Makes sense.
Mimosa
Sounds
sort
in
of,
character to me.
Mimosa sort of pokes Belmont and goes, "You maybe want to ask about the rest of your dumbass crew."
Right. Have any other dwarves come your way? Again, Barb scratches her chin. I remember three sort of, well, I hate to use the word uppity, but they were kind of full of themselves.
Do we have two of them with us now?
Yeah, but they're in the back.
They're also
If-
like half starved to death, so they're probably just kind of not paying attention.
There was one who made a big deal of being son of Thrain, son of Thror. They arrived in town and then they went for the Iron Hills. Said something about coming back. It's the sort of thing that happens a lot when people deal with the master here, where they say, "I'll be back," and then you'll be sorry, and they never come back because no one likes coming back to Lake Town.
Oh,
I mean, it smells like fish here. Dead
just
fish.
like good old England.
Yeah, this place of all places feels very homey to you, Arena. Not enough smog, though. Well, I mean in a way.
I mean, what's the difference between the smog and the blitz? Let's be real here.
Smaug smells a bit more pleasant than smoke.
Fair enough.
Anywho, it's a pleasure meeting y'all.
Canon now. Smog smells like apples.
There's a crash that happens behind her and Erina jumps. Oh, great. Not England. Not England. No bombs. No bombs.
Yes, you haven't been firebombed for quite some time because the dragon's been asleep. No one's fucked around with his shit. Well, if you need any help, I live there. And Barb the Bowman points to a kind of shitty little house towards the edge of the lake. Yep. It's me and my wonderful children. I should go back to them now.
You have children?
Yes! Ever since their horrible father left, it's just me and the kids and making a living. Hunting with my bow. Make ends meet.
Sotra nods in understanding.
Well,
Hand on the shoulder. I feel your pain.
thank you. Thank you. Well, goodbye. And the bear pulls, Stephen Colbert pulls down his red t-shirt because it was beginning to roll up his very large, pronounced, golden furred belly. Dips his hands into some more honey and smacks it with his very large, protruding lips. Oh.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, I mean, yes.
Sotra looks
What a nice
from
fellow.
looks like Dorothy and the Hobbits. Then looks at Stephen Colbert and Arena.
Yeah.
I guess they do turn out weird sometimes.
What a nice human man.
Hey, it turns out we put in a bear shapeshifter after all.
What?
Holy shit.
He's not a shapeshifter, though. He doesn't need to be.
He just
So
is
he's
a
automatically better.
Meanwhile, Arena's having a pseudo PTSD moment of just imagining the Blitz.
You alright?
As the imagery flows through her brain.
Also, I did not realize. I'm assuming this is over walking away. Crambone goes like, "I did not realize human males could get that hairy."
Neither did I.
Everything else seems to fit the bill. I've been told, but
Belmont looks at you, Crambo, and says, "You're a mammal too.
He's not
on my
that
good
hairy.
days.
We're all mammals.
But
Well,
like,
all of us here.
yes, and I knew humans are mammals too. But that is like,
You're calling them mammals like you're not one. What?
Is Belmont finally breaking?
But to be fair, hobbits are monetary. Kind of a gray
Belmont,
area.
Belmont finally breaking after this whole adventure.
Meanwhile, Erina, as you're having a bit of a PTSD flashback, you hear a voice in your head say, "You came from someplace very bad, didn't you?"
War-torn.
Ah,
Some jackass wanted to take over Europe again after.
the images that I'm seeing in your mind are horrifying. This world has been ravaged by war, but nothing akin to that. It's amazing that you have survived to meet us.
Well, falling through a wardrobe that leads to another world, and then being thrown into prison that leads to yet another world is.
A strange sort of miracle, I suppose.
Also, fuck you, Neville Chamberlain. Peace and all time, my fucking ass. You piece and bastard.
Yes, peace. Peace is a hard promise to deliver. So many things can go awry.
Yeah. Anywho, let's get a move on.
All right.
Not in London. Not in London.
In the meantime, Mimosa's just like, taking Belmont aside and going, "Look, consider the source, right? Look at him. Are you sure that's a mammal?"
I'm not sure about anything anymore.
You
You and
right,
me
Belmont?
both.
I haven't been sure of anything for the last, how many decades has it been now? 3 decades? 4 decades?
There's
Dude,
How old am I again?
there's a phantom guitar riff as Legolas slaps Belmont on the back and says, "Don't worry, dude. Being certain about something is just another way of saying you're lying to yourself. Life is nothing but a series of doubts and questions we'll never have the answers to."
Legolas. That's
Legolas,
a terrible way
that
to
is-
use someone's word.
That is absolutely beautiful, Legolas. Thank you very much.
Both extremes reactions right there.
Let's go to one of those hotels and see if they've got fluffy blankets. I bet they do.
Oh,
And he
I love
skateboards off. You see Kraven just sigh and trot after him. Belmont shrugs, follows after, along with the two starving dwarves, Owen and Glowin.
I assume we would have given them some food.
Yeah, but I mean, as the soldiers who rescue people from concentration camps can tell you, a person who has been starved, they aren't fixed with their first meal.
Fair.
It takes a couple of wow.
It not to get too grisly, but like in World War II, they found out that at first you can't feed them too much because their stomachs have literally shrunk. You gotta go slow, which is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, back to our fun fantasy adventure.
Jesus.
Okay, so you guys get to the inn, and there's a man with a very curly mustache. Hello, welcome to Wiggins Inn. There isn't a canonical inn I can remember from this part of the Hobbit, so I'm just making one up. It's very Tolkien, this name, Wiggins Inn.
Does your last name happen to be Strawson?
No, it's Wiggins.
Wiggins?
Yes, Wiggins.
Fucking God.
Sounds fake, but all right.
If you say my name 3 times, I'll appear and kill you.
Does it have to be in sequence, or can words be put in the middle of it?
No, it has to be in sequence.
Not if I
Okay.
kill you first.
That'd be bad for business if you just randomly said his name 3 times in your lifetime, and all of a sudden he showed
Also,
up.
it'd
There
be
you go.
super busy. You have to be concentrated on saying Wiggins.
Wait,
For me
you
to
said
be
3
summoned
times.
and kill you.
You
Yeah,
said 3
I-
times. Don't you have to kill yourself now?
No, because I'm the Wiggins.
Listen,
I'd only be in danger if you were the Wiggins, but I am the Wiggins.
Listen,
We're so doing a Tolkien moment right now. This is totally what Tolkien would have written.
if you show up to try and kill me, I'm killing you back.
Would you like a room?
I like
Yes, that's why we came in.
Oh, I have a. Times like this, I'm glad to have a gun.
Yes, I feel it might be prudent to kill this man.
No one will miss him. He's nowhere in the original source material.
Wiggins!
Now, Mr. Wiggins, I have a question.
Yes?
Where would be a great place to get some grub? Because your boy's hungry, and I got some other fellas over there that are hungry. They're mighty hungry.
Well,
How
you
do
can
get
go
in
to
there?
the market and get some fresh fish.
Oh, that's just like fish and chips back home.
The more you
Then you
mention
can bring
home,
it back here and I can boil it until it's nice and clammy.
Ugh. I think we can make our own food, thank you.
I
Not even
appreciate
gonna
the
bother
offer.
batter- not even gonna bother battering it and deep frying it, eh?
Questions, Wiggins. Ooh. Questions, Innkeep. How fluffy are the blankets? Oh, they're not very fluffy at all. Rats.
Aw.
Gee whiz.
Yes, they're quite starchy and scratchy, actually. Real shit blankets I've got here at my inn. Wiggins!
All right.
Oh, it's the Wiggins encounter from The Hobbit. You all remember that chapter.
Oh yeah.
Pierre back.
I
Soju
mean-
looks at Belmont. I'm not sleeping in here.
Yeah. Let's go to that other end. All right. But if you
I have
say
a
my name
question.
3 times, I'll kill you.
Now, does that apply even when we're outside the inn?
Yes. Anywhere.
Oh, I'm so tempted now.
No matter where you are, if you say my name 3 times, I'll appear and kill you.
I have
Wiggins!
I have 2 more questions.
Okay, yeah.
1, if I say your name 3 times, will you appear right in front of me?
I mean, I'll probably be behind you with a knife.
But it will be predictably right behind me, right?
I mean, it'll be where you don't expect me to come from.
Okay, question 2. I don't really know what you are, but if you were to have your throat torn out, would it kill you?
That's not an answer.
Isn't it?
No.
Wiggins!
Will anyone care if I kill this man?
I'll care if you even try. I don't
Alignment
trust.
is good. Your alignment is good. Your alignment is good.
The ring says to Erina, I don't trust this Wiggins.
Fucking Tara. Trust Wiggins.
Duly noted. It was a pleasure meeting you,
Wait,
Wiggins. You
was
have
that
a
Durza?
wonderful evening. Hopefully you have some good business tonight.
Wiggins with her Santa Claus's boomstick.
I'm gonna turn up Dersey.
See what
Dersey
happens.
quiet.
Yeah, you're super quiet.
She sounds normal to me.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'm a little quiet tonight.
It's okay.
Wiggins!
Anyway, what Durza was trying to say was that Erina needs to do to Wiggins what she did to the deer in the forest with her boomstick.
Fucking explode him.
Just casually boom a man in the middle of town. That's always a fun time.
So Sutra's going to just close the door.
Wiggins!
Mental note, potential part of the plan, trick the dragon into saying his name 3 times.
I'm just noting that, out of character, that Wiggins was weird enough that he unsettled Sauron.
Look,
We may have stumbled across the real main enemy of the series, the Mongolian devil Elder Horror.
The real enemy of Tolkien off the rails. Wiggins!
what
Wiggins?
Sauron's consciousness was doing before the events of Lord of the Rings. Or what was left of it, I suppose.
Alright, so you guys head to the next inn, which is called the Hobbling Hugga Inn.
The what?
Alright. See, Grandma,
The Hobbling Hugga.
I hate it.
I'm both mortified and curious, so Grandma gonna go in.
Alright.
Someone please explain who goes to Ender. She wasn't privy for that.
Well, when I was 4 years old, I was really sad because dragons were always bad guys. So I made up a variety of flying reptiles that breathed bubblegum called Huggas. And then later, a person asked me what I thought dragons might have mutated from in Lord of the Rings, because dragons are a creation of Morgoth, and all of Morgoth's creations aren't actually created by Morgoth so much as Morgoth mutated something pre-existing into being them. And so people were like, orcs are mutated elves, okay, that makes sense. Trolls are mutated ents, sure. What the fuck is a dragon mutated out of? And people were like, huh. And there's no clear answer for that question. So one person was like, would there be like some other like not evil reptile out there that was mutated to be dragons? And so I chose the name Hooga from back when I was a little kid to make a hypothetical non-evil big reptile in Lord of the Rings. And so Hoogas. Hoogah.
All right, I'm back with pizza.
Awesome. So you're at the second inn, the Hobbling Hooga. You go in, there's a 35-year-old woman, very cheery, lots of freckles, huge tracts of land, waiting. She's like, "Hello, welcome to the Hobbling Hooga. How can I help you?"
What is a hooga?
Oh, it's a little of this and a little of that. It's like a big lizardy thing.
Oh,
These people speak in my language, and I can appreciate that. Howdy, can we get like
I know
an
that-
entire room for a set of posse? Maybe 2 rooms if needed.
I know what a hookah is, but
Yeah, we can fit you. Why, we got all kinds of vacancies. Everyone else seems to go to that other establishment.
Yeah, we chose better.
what is he?
Just a man, I hope.
Always a very terrifying statement. But yeah, if you could hook us up with a couple of rooms for me and my compadres here.
Why,
That'd be
sure. You are a strange-looking bunch. Do I see a couple of elves? Yeah, you do. How fluffy are your blankets? Wow, they're very fluffy, sugar. Radical!
I was just about to ask for him, but I'm happy he's happy. He needs some support. He's a little
Belmont-
new to this all.
Belmont
thing.
comes up and says, "You wouldn't happen to have any dwarven ale, would you?" Why, shug. We've got all kinds of dwarven ale. Oh, thank God. And Owen and Glow would come up and say, "Yeah, we need drinks too." Ah, shug, you look as plumb down as a partridge in a pear tree of sorrow. I'm gonna get you some delicious fucking pheasant in your craw. Yeah, that's how this character talks, I guess.
That's a sentence.
Yes, it is.
That was an entire sentence that I did not think you were prepared for, Will, but I'm impressed that you made it go for.
That was, I ran for it. I wasn't sure where it was going. I knew where it needed to go, but I wasn't sure how to get there. But we got there.
Crambone just happy that someone finally speaking the tongue he understands.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, motherfucker. We ride it down.
So you have a couple of rooms for the night, as well as a meal of pheasant with dwarvish wine, or dwarvish ale.
Whichever one you want.
Yep. Both Krabbin and Legolas are out within 1 sip of their dwarvish ale.
Lightweights.
Beginners.
Cool. Sotra, I need you to make a fortitude or Constitution save.
Oh,
Constitution.
how do I do that?
You click on the name Constitution.
Oh,
you're
Oh,
out too.
I got a 4.
Awesome. You are also out within 1 sip.
Yeah, lightweights takes a sip and passes out.
Lord.
Crambone also drinks from the dwarven ale. You can appreciate a mighty fine drink.
It makes sense that Gorothy does better with it than anyone else. He's a goblin.
This counts as poison, right?
Yes.
I have resistance against poison. So where are you? I had advantage on saving throws.
All right, there you go.
You still, even with your advantage, you tied with Dorothy.
Crambone, you get incredibly drunk really quick on the dwarven ale. Dorothy Mimosa, you don't get quite as drunk, but you're still pretty tipsy. Like when you walk, there's a bit of a jiggle in your step. There's yeah, you're gonna need someone to help you up to your room.
What about Belmont?
Oh, he's fine.
It's dwarven ale.
Yeah, he's a dwarf. He's got an ironclad stomach.
Yeah, Arena's gonna pass on that and just drink out of her water skin.
Very good choice. I found that dwarven ale is quite an impediment.
Sorry, be right back.
Now that I'm properly knackered, I'm gonna go find me one of them blankets. And I'm gonna curl myself up in a fluffy tortilla. If y'all will excuse me, I'm gonna go wrap myself in one of them fluffy tortillas.
That is the slowest
do
I
that,
have ever
sugar.
heard him talk.
I just got bad news, but
I'm sorry.
What happened?
I'm taking in my dog tomorrow for the put down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Condolences, man.
Let's continue.
Yep. So, Grambone just went in for the night. Now that he's sloshed.
Fluffy tortilla.
The rest of you are still getting drunk.
I stopped after the first one. Just sitting there waiting for everybody to be done, and then seeing who needs help up to their rooms, and then I'm going to go to bed as well.
And Arena is going to remain sober.
Smart. Alright, I guess once you guys have partied out, you go back up to your bedrooms and you have yourselves a little nap. By that I mean 9 hours.
Yay, full rests.
You wake up the next morning in your hotel rooms. They're nice. The blankets are very fluffy.
Wiggins.
That was 2.
Dude, did I call this a tortilla last night?
Beetlejuice.
What incarnations of Beetlejuice? Dorothy!
She's
Wait,
trying-
right, y'all youngins don't get up early. You don't get that ache in your bones like I do. Grambone gets up, grabs his guitar. It's like, excellent. No one to stop my machinations of my mind. And he proceeds to go out into the town.
Alright. You're going alone, Crambo?
Yes, while everyone is still waking up.
While everyone else is still waking up, you go out alone into town. And it's a beautiful, cold, gray morning in Lake Town. The air is chilly and wet. The smell of fish is inescapable. And everyone looks like they're going to drop over from the flu any minute. Everyone's clammy and terrible, and from the mountain that overhangs the town, there is a thick, black cloud of smoke pouring out of the top of it.
Hey, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
You see Stephen Colbert walking on his hands and knees, as a man should. Before he stands upright and sits down and pulls out another jar of honey and begins getting another smack roll.
Well, good morning, Mr.
I have a
Colbert.
grumbly in my tumbly.
Coconut
understand
Trails
that.
now banned in China.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Colbert. How are you doing?
Good morning.
Mighty fine morning if it wasn't for the that smoke. That's kind of weird. Is that normal? I ain't seen
Yes.
that.
That's from the dragon.
So it just does that sometimes.
Oh, most mornings. Smaug get your smoky in the morning, and I'm then at lunch and then at night.
Huh. Wonder what kind of cigars the man smokes. Big fat ones, apparently.
I thought dragon smoke came from dragonfire, but I am just a humble human.
I understand, my man. There's no worries. I'm just trying to figure it all out.
Nothing but the bare necessity.
You're having way too much fun with this.
We've gotten really dumb today.
I appreciate it, Mr. Colfair. I was gonna go to the market a little early to see if I could nab us some fresh fish for breakfast.
Oh no.
Oh, you'll always be able to get fresh fish at the market. It's the honey that's hard. Bees. The bees.
I'm gonna let you have that one. Hey, by the way, partner, have you ever had this thing called barbecue sauce?
No.
Here, he reaches into a little side satchel he's brought out because he's Cranbone. He never leaves without like full pockets. And he pulls out a little jar of barbecue sauce, passes it to him. He's like, "Here,
Okay.
next time you're having some." Oh,
Colbert grabs it. I mean, Stephen Colbert grabs it in his very long hands. He lifts it up over his mouth, and his large hands kind of fumble and crack it, and all the sauce seeps into his mouth. And at first he's like, and then he's like, oh, it's too hot! It's too hot! And he gets up, and his arms start flailing wildly, and begins smashing other vendors' carts. It's too hot! Mr. Colbert, no! People are running, trying to stop him. One person gets in the way of his paw, and they get like horrible scratches down his chest as the guy's thrown 5 feet into the air, and everyone's trying to stop Mr. Colbert as he's rampaging to the square. Flailing in panic at the heat in his mouth until finally he falls into the lake and the water comes to his mouth. He's like, oh my god. Oh. And he swims back to shore and was like, whew, it's been a while since Stephen Colbert had one of his fits. one guy's lying there, his guts hanging out of his stomach, like, yeah, man, he got me good.
What the fuck?
Mr. Colbert, if you had let me finish, you put that on some meat with some honey and it makes a good tasting thing. You weren't supposed to eat the entire bottle.
Oh.
It's fine. Let's just help this man right here get to a doctor real quick.
It's fine, Mr. Colbert. I shouldn't have touched you while you were having an episode.
Let's help get this poor fella to a doctor, and we'll just, forget it never happened.
Okay. You all help the guy who's been disemboweled as if struck by a bear get to a doctor.
What in the hell?
All right.
What the fuck?
Just like in The Hobbit. It's like that book J.R.R. Tolkien wrote.
Just like it.
It was like that book J.K. Rowling wrote.
Yeah. J.R.R. Martin wrote The Hobbit, and he had this scene where a guy named Stephen Colbert disemboweled a guy with one hit.
Alright, we help. Grandpa just gets him to a doctor, and once the doctor's taken over, he kind of gets out of there. Doesn't want to be tied into a disembowelment again.
And someone's like, oh, did you have another episode, Stephen? Yeah. Someone give you something that was too hot? Yeah. It's okay. We'll give you some more honey. Okay. How you doing, guy who's disemboweled? I'm dying of dysentery. Well, it's the Middle Ages, so here's some leeches. Oh, boy! Leeches!
And when the leeches come out, Grandma goes out. There's a limit. All right. Well, so I'll talk to you later, Mr. Colbert, and your innards.
Hey, my fault. I shouldn't have.
Well, I suppose there's worse ways today. And with that, Crampo goes to the market.
Flying into the freedom is a plague doctor flying in on a Mary Poppins umbrella.
Wrong campaign.
Oh yeah, that's out of place.
Hey, we're in a very different setting. It's much more serious and consistent.
Okay.
All right.
Meanwhile, Irina is just tossing her gun while talking to the two voices in her head.
That's always a good sign.
Mr. Sereno, get the pancakes.
All right, I'll get pancakes.
Can we have some bacon as well?
What do I look? What do I look like? A savage? Of course, I'm gonna get bacon.
Good, good.
What do I look like? A savage?
I'd like syrup. Well, of course we're getting syrup. We're getting pancake. Yay!
They can talk to each other.
You know, they've both had a mental link with Arena for a couple of days. They're beginning to understand each other.
That's concerning.
So, Klaus, your elves in your world make toys and shoes. The toy making is a more prestigious gig. It involves working for an asshole. Shoemaker elves get less prestige, but at least they generally work for nice poor people. You see. Are your people happy in servitude? No. Santa Claus is a huge dick. Real piece of shit.
What kind of a writer would have elves be happy in servitude?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Downright bonkers.
I enjoy making the toys, and my friends who cobble shoes enjoy cobbling the shoes, but don't like working for the boss man. Interesting. You guys get down, and a large breakfast has been prepared for you, and there's some strange visitors there. The hostess of the inn smiles at you when you come down, but she looks a little strained. And you see that three people who are sitting at the breakfast of this bed and breakfast are dressed in very fancy robes. One is a very large, portly gentleman, with a sort of leering grin. One is a tall, willowy man with black hair, a somewhat aquiline nose, and very piercing eyes. And the third and shortest and smallest of the group is a scrawny, horribly dirty-looking man. Welcome, welcome. I am Lord Melchett, the master of Lake Town. I heard we had another dwarf in our midst, as well as some elf companions and some hermits.
That's us.
Belmont, Owen, and Glowin step forward. Belmont's like, yes, I am a dwarf. Yes, and would you be another son of Thrain, son of Thror? Yes. Excellent, excellent. Well, have a seat. This wonderful mistress of ours has made a delicious breakfast for you all. And I'm very intrigued at such a strange party of newcomers in my little town.
Luckily, Crambone ain't back yet.
Do the rest of you sit down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
So, what is your and Lord Melchett begins eating some of the food in a very sloppy manner. What is your business? Well, I'm going to the Lonely Mountain. Hmm. And why would you be doing that? I think you know why. Yes, but I'd like you to say it. I want to reclaim my ancestral home. Hmm. With this rabble. Yes. What do you think, Blackadder? Yes, well, they're certainly more prepared than the last 3 dwarves who came in here. Look at those rough humans they have with them, very muscular and strong. 3 elves, that's good. And of course, I've heard that hobbits are incredibly good thieves.
And meanwhile, you see Aaron upholstering the gun.
They don't know.
They even have a young virgin to feed the dragon as a distraction.
Excuse you?
Yes, I think this is actually quite a prepared group. Clearly, Belmont, son of Thrain, son of Thror, is the smarter of the remaining siblings. Yes, I quite agree, Blackadder. I think this group will do very well. Of course, to drive out the dragon, they will first need my blessing. After all, should they fail, I'm sure Lake Town will suffer the brunt of the dragon's wrath. Quite a sticky wicket for us, eh? What say you to that, Mr. Belmont, son of Thrain, son of Thrall? What do you want? I'd say half. Half would be acceptable. Half the treasure. Yes! Quite a stimulus package if you should destroy this dragon for us. Yes.
Why would we pay you for help?
Well, it's a simple fact. The matter is, if you don't kill the dragon, we're going to be destroyed. The way I see it, the smartest thing for us to do would be to have you all killed here in this inn. Board up the whole place, burn it down if you in it, and say, wash our hands of things. Yes, that was actually what I originally suggested. But if instead you promised us some gold, well then it might be worth for us to take the risk.
Excuse me, what was your name, sir?
Lord Melchett, Master of Lake Town.
Lord Melchett. What was the name of that inn across the street again?
That's the Wiggins Inn.
Can you say it again? I didn't catch that.
That's the Wiggins Inn.
The what inn?
The Wiggins Inn.
No, the what inn?
The
Are you
Wiggins Inn.
Are you saying chickens? The chickens inn?
No, I'm saying Wiggins. I'm saying the name of the proprietor, which happens to be Wiggins. His name, you see, is Wiggins, spelled Wiggins.
Oh, wagons. I get you. Wagons. The wagon.
Hey, close enough. You're a hermit. We don't expect you to pronounce things right.
Oh my god.
Can I roll a persuasion check?
No, you can't force him to say Wiggins 3 times. You figure out a clever way to do it like Superman would, otherwise you're not getting what you want.
Well, I'm sorry, do you not know how to properly say it?
I've said it properly several times now.
I mean, it's wagons, right?
It's Wiggins. Jeez, I thought these elves were supposed to be bright, Blackadder.
I've known several...
They're very cunning in certain things, but I think the grey ones are known for having sex with deers.
Okay, I'm killing them, Belmont.
No.
No.
I am killing. Half is very steep. Do you even know how much treasure is in Erebor? Blackadder, how much treasure is in there?
At least 3 wagons full.
Lots of treasure. Yes, I would like half of lots of treasure, please.
Oh, so you're not intelligent. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, there are. How big are your wagons? Oh, they're How big are our wagons, Blackadder? Oh, they're fairly normal sized wagons, really. Well, they're normal size. Ah, yes, the universal normal size of a wagon in a world where people are of varying heights.
A normal
Yes!
human-sized wagon is about
Well,
the size of this room, Belmont.
thank you, Mimosa. I would say that I can give you. I can't give you half, but I could give you close to half, which would be 3 wagons full. 3 wagons full of treasure. That's quite a good offer. What do you think, Blackadder? Make it 3 wagons and a cart. Yes, we won't settle for less than 3 wagons and a cart. Well, you really got my back to the wall, but I guess 3 wagons and a cart will have to do. Yes, good. Good thinking, Blackadder. Good. Yes, good. Yes. Well, shake on it, sir. Yes. Well, shake. You got the better of me, I'll say that. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Don't you make sure that dragon's dead. I don't want to be burned alive. Let's get to the safe house, Blackadder. Yes, sir. And the 3 of them leave the inn post haste.
You should have let me kill them.
Mimosa turns to the innkeeper after she's done chewing and goes, "So you know where the safe house is?"
Oh yeah, it's underneath his normal house. It's what he calls his basement. It's on part of Lake Town that's actually still attached to the ground, so it's relatively safer than the rest of us.
Is he?
So post haste, how long would it take him to get there?
Oh, I'd say 15 minutes.
Okay, I'll see you in a minute.
10 if Baldrick's really feeling springy.
Mimosa's gonna slip out the door, put on her ring, and follow him.
All right.
We're doing
okay.
another prancing pony, aren't we?
He doesn't
You
own
should've
the inn.
You should have let me kill him, Belmont.
Well, there'll be time for everything. Belmont reaches into his satchel, gives several gold pieces to the innkeeper and says, "That's for last night's stay. We'll have 4 wagons of treasure for you if our plan succeeds."
Aww.
Aww.
Oh my god, that's more money than I've ever seen. Well, invest in your inn. It's a very good inn. I don't
Yes.
see why that Waggles fellow has to be the big game in town.
That is the best sleep I've had in weeks.
Those blankets were wicked gnarly! And by which I mean they were very fluffy and soft. Thank you for making such a good blanket.
Aww.
I have to admit, it was a good night's sleep. We've been sleeping in a dungeon for a while, so...
Area 15 gold tip.
God damn, she's making bank today.
She's just rolling in it today.
Someone nice after we were dealing with the Merc Widow. I wonder what the most is doing.
Everyone, I want to discuss something with you all when we set out to trek to the mountain. I want to talk strategy before we go. Ma'am, would you mind taking care of my cousins Owen and Glowin? They aren't fit for the trip. Oh, dude, we'll watch over them too. Yeah, it's the least we can do after our people kind of did that to them. Thank you. I've got to go do some preparations. I'll meet you all on the trail to the mountain. And Belmont leaves the inn.
Huh.
And our other 4 hangers-on are also going to stay here, so I stop having to do like 7 voices a scene for a bit.
That's fair. But Sotra is going to go up to the elves. You two be safe while we're gone. You are the only of Mirkwood elves I've seen who I do not hate with my entire soul.
Will be most excellent, Lady Sotra. Yeah, I think the big part of us being safe would be to you guys not getting a pissed off dragon to rampage on town, so...
Look, I make no promises.
We'll be as safe as we can be. Just try and help out with that, though, please.
I will do my best to not send the raging dragon in this direction, but I cannot make any promises. I fully expect to die.
That's about as good as I can ask for, I guess.
If worst comes to worst, I want you to find my son. She
Of course.
passes a note along with the location of where her son lives.
And Craven says, of course. Legolas grabs your hands and says, I promise you, by my honor, as Prince of Mirkwood, your son will be safe.
Oh!
Aww.
That's adorable. Unfortunately,
Sotra-
Crambone is not here to listen.
Sotra looks with not. She looks if anyone else is looking and gives Legolas another hug.
Aww.
Aww.
Oh my god.
Ready to go, bestie?
Who is echoing me?
Hold on a second, man. It started echoing all of a sudden.
Hello?
Hello.
There we go, it fixed it.
To Dorothy, do not. And she leaves.
She's softening.
Alright.
Hold on, I'm sending you things, TT. To...
Crambone, how are things going?
How about a fish?
If you want my fish, you're gonna have to pay a price.
Alright. How much?
At least 3 copper pieces for each fish.
Alright.
If you want,
Here's 6 copper.
two fish. And she takes 2 crabs out of her basket.
Fantastic.
So
How
is she
much
really
to buy?
They are snippy. They are snippy little crabs.
So, is she really well dressed right now?
No.
Well, I appreciate you for these wonderful fish. Not that I could tell what a fish is.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Sorry, I had a bit of a thing lodged inside me.
Happens to the best of us, no worries.
So like I said, it's 3 copper pieces of fish.
Alright, here you go.
Alright, thank you.
Appreciate it kindly.
Tastes like copper, alright?
I mean, I have no reason to not pay you in actual copper. I'm not an idiot. However, these are quite fine fish, and I will carry them around with me. Do I need to like keep them in water or something, or?
I'm sorry.
Good God.
No, you eat them.
Ah, gotcha. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. You have a
Alright,
dozen things.
goodbye. Funny little man's never known what a fish is before.
First time in Lake Town. Never seen so much water before in my life.
It's horrible.
I mean, most places are. It doesn't get much better out there.
No, it doesn't.
Not really.
No. She turns around and then just jumps off the dock and sinks down to the bottom.
These human folk are mighty weird, but alright. And Crambone with 2 crabs makes his way back to the party.
Give me a second.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay, about maybe 20 minutes later, Mimosa comes back. She does not say what she did.
Sotra looks at her very suspiciously.
Crambone arrives with 2 large crabs just in time to see everyone has been eating like Belgian waffles and bacon and fucking grapefruit and pancakes.
I
like the setup.
Oh, you got second breakfast.
Oh, hey, second breakfast. That's even fantastic. Look at y'all eating out without me. Could have given me a warning. Of course, I did wake up and left before most of you were even up and at 'em.
I was
It's
wondering
been an
where you
interesting
went.
morning. Humans are a strange bunch.
Well, Shug, if you want, I can cook those up for you.
Cook up this one. I'm going to keep this other one. He's more pinchier than the other one. I like his stubbornity.
Oh, you want to domesticate those crabs?
No, I didn't say that. I said I'm keeping them. There's a
Because
difference.
if you want, I can give them these tiny little crab-sized swords.
Actually, yes, Meow. That would be fantastic if you would not mind.
And you have successfully armed your crabs.
Oh, those come in spider size.
Oh, wait,
I mean,
so
there were spiders this
It
time.
depends on how big of a spider you have.
Dorothy holds up Artemis.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that'll work. And she brings up more crab weapons. So now Artemis has a tiny spider sword and a tiny spider shield, but they're crab themed. Because
Also,
these are made for crabs.
Oh.
I will say for
A
the
serious Tolkien campaign.
We're just repurposing them for a more exotic pet than a crab.
yeah.
Mimosa taught me about this. This is called a cultural appropriation.
I mean, there's been worse. No worries. Also, I ran into Colbert today. He's in a bit of a mood.
You mean the bear wearing pants?
He's a human man. I ain't
No,
seen another
I
one.
made the same mistake. He's actually a human.
Are you sure?
I mean, he talks like one.
Does
She's
he
got
though?
a point. And on top of it, I ain't
Marina's
seen
gonna
a human
ask
man
her
all
head.
day. I've seen a bunch
All right,
of women.
is that a human or a bear? I don't know anymore.
It's a bear.
I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, okay. I thought I was losing my mind for a minute.
Arana, that's a bear.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought he was a talking beaver.
That's a beaver.
I'm sorry, Shug, but we're not in hell.
I've
That
seen bears. That looks extremely like a bear.
Hey, he's a person.
yeah, that would make sense. Narnia as hell.
Also, I have a question. I met where the lady I purchased these crabs from. Can she breathe underwater?
No, humans lack that ability.
Oh, so she just dead. Gotcha.
I'm not going to ask any more questions because I feel I might be partial to something I don't want to be partial to.
It's nothing bad. I bought some crabs.
You sure? Because I'm pretty sure you said the word dead.
Well, she jumped into the lake.
Oh,
She didn't come back up.
So you inspired us. Okay, so a suicide happened. Okay. We'll keep it at that then, huh?
No, that's what
What
happened.
did you do?
I was just like trying to create some conversation, asking about these fish, and like she just cackled, asked what the world outside was like, and it's like, it's okay. And then she kind of just jumped off. And I went, oh.
Hambone, what did you do?
That's the second person I've seen die today.
Second person? Hambone, what were you doing?
Y'all left me alone.
I don't know
Everybody
what
has to have a murder hobo.
I'm not.
To be fair, I feel that you left them alone.
To be fair, I did not hurt the other man. Apparently, Colbert has episodes.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Colbert, sometimes he gets into a fit. You know, it's not his fault, it's just the nature of his ancestry. His parents had the same problem.
Yeah, that's what happened to the first fella. That one was nothing new that we can prove in a court of law. In any case, what's the plan? Where Belmont go?
Oh, he said he was waiting for y'all over at the path to the mist to the lonely mountain out there. Yeah.
Fantastic. We're gonna go through the woods.
That's the opposite direction of the mountain.
All right. Are there no trees out by the mountain? I thought mountains had trees.
No. There's no plant life living outside the mountain. It's what we call the Desolation of the Smurg.
What a fantastic name. Desolation of the Smurg.
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 Desolation of the Smirk?
We'll agree to disagree. In any case.
Desolation of the Smurg.
Alright, let's get to it. Try to talk to it.
Oi, let me eat some breakfast. I'm hungry. I watched too much death to be eating
Meanwhile-
on an empty stomach.
Your crabs are practicing sword fight.
Arena
We got
asked on her
Daddy
head.
and Chop Chop. That's how we're gonna do it.
Arena asked on her head, so would you two happen to know anything about talking to dragons?
No, I don't. I do. Yeah. The short version is don't. Don't do that. Dragons are magically persuasive. There's a danger when talking of dragons of being hypnotized. They have a strange sort of charisma that makes you sort of want to become open. It is very hard to lie to dragons, while dragons are very good at lying to you, which makes it very dangerous to talk to them. The smartest way to converse with a dragon is to do so in riddles. If you outright deny information, you may incite the dragon's ire and get it angry at you, whereas if you tell the dragon everything it wants to know, that has an obvious problem with it. If you talk in riddles, you stimulate the dragon's desire to understand, while giving it technically what is an answer, but also giving it something of a puzzle to go over, which preoccupies the dragon's mind so it doesn't focus all of its attention not directly upon you. So if one must converse with dragons, that is the best way to do it, with riddling talk. Try and find ways to say something, accurately answer, while doing so in a way that the dragon would have trouble parsing it.
Well, coming from another world is quite a riddle that seems to get everyone's focus.
Yes. From my experience studying dragons, I would say, in general, avoid talking, avoid discussion.
Alright. I don't know how a ring would study dragon, but alright.
Well, a person I was on was the one studying. I just happened to be listening while it was happening.
You alright over there?
It's hard to separate my experiences from those of those who have warned me. I still have centuries of person eating fish in a dark, dank cave to sift through.
No, that makes sense. Arita says, but still slightly,
The ring would know something about riddling talk, you think?
Yep.
Perhaps in that way it's been instructive.
Very.
All
Are
right.
you okay
well,
there, Sotra? I mean, fuck. Are you okay over there?
I don't know,
yourself
Arya.
in third person. The crab bone's gonna. God damn it!
Are you okay over there, Erina?
Just converse. Just
Conversing?
passing over information that I read about in Dabbard Bowie's Keep about the best way to converse with dragons. Riddles.
That's a strange thing to find in a
Sounds fake, but all right.
Bari's keep.
He also it's also where I found out about Spawn of Shelob and other world nonsense.
I suppose that makes sense.
Question: do you think anybody's actually ever invited Smaug anywhere?
I don't think so. What are you
Just a
planning,
thought. Just
Crambone?
food for thought.
What are you planning, Crambone?
I have like 10 different plans going on in my head. Don't you worry none about them.
Either way, I doubt we can actually fight something that can destroy an entire village and mountain, even with a gun. Maybe if I had a anti-air cannons or an F-15, a Spitfire fighter might, but we don't have those here. So,
What's a Spitfire fighter?
it gets an image of like a fucking Royal Air Force during the Blitz.
What
Sounds like good old British
strange
propaganda videos playing.
and a
out.
wonderful machine.
I am actively making this campaign worse later on, but I don't care.
Oh my god.
I'm seeing how far off the rails I can take this.
Wiggins. Okay, keep going.
Her DM's dead.
Ah, shit, DM's dead. Alright, technically speaking, Scatha would be the most equipped to go next. Scatha, you're now DM.
Fuck you.
Anyway, we were doing.
Everyone dies.
Okay, I think we should go meet up with Belmont now.
Alright, let's.
Hopefully he's done with what he was going to be doing.
Also, what were you doing, Vanessa?
I was doing nothing. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sotra just looks at her.
I have to stop, alright?
Choppy, we gotta get going.
She leans down to Mimosa. Did you poison them too?
No.
Doubt.
No, she's telling the complete truth. She did not. She did not poison anybody this time.
Everyone's gonna roll insight.
She's telling the truth. She did not.
I mean, they're trying to figure out what Mimosa did.
I mean,
You'd have to ask me questions for that. And she's not going to tell you nothing.
Mimosa, I hope you had a productive morning.
I did.
You didn't do the Honolulu hotfoot again, did you?
No.
the what?
Ooh, that one was a bad one.
The what?
We don't mention the Honolulu Hotfoot if we can't help it. It was one of Mimosa's worst times. Y'all be like, "Oh, Crambo needs to be on a leash."
How'd you know
No,
about
y'all let Mimosa
Hawaii?
get away with it. Okay, you get it.
Sotra shakes her head and walks off.
How do you know about the capital of the state of Hawaii? What if it is this world?
There's a lot now.
Honolulu, it's the capital of it. Know it. Moving on.
I was talking
Honolulu is
about
my cousin.
good old Honolulu.
Suddenly that makes a whole lot of sense. Yet none at all.
Bit of a pyromaniac. Loads of fun at parties.
Are you guys coming?
I mean, yeah.
Arius going off ahead.
We're walking and moving, yeah.
I got Choppy and Stab. We good.
What?
Choppy's sitting on my guitar case that I keep on my back, and Stab's on my hat.
Are those crabs?
Yes.
Swords?
Yes. Yes, they are.
You are...
It is the least weird thing that's happened to me this morning. Let's go talk to a dragon.
Socha just turns and walks off.
Alright. You guys get to the outskirts of town where there is a path that leads up to the mountain, and Belmont is waiting there for you with ponies for us to ride, as well as bags full of supplies, mountain climbing gear, and the like. And he says, I've been thinking about how we should proceed.
You've been what?
And
What did you say he was doing?
I've been thinking about how we should proceed, and it goes against everything I've been taught, and in some ways feels like a betrayal of my people. But I think we should try to talk to him. Before I took this quest, I knew very little of the world. I knew that my people had been displaced. We were living among humans who didn't quite understand us or our customs. And who I think my family didn't quite understand as well. For there were many things humans did that made sense to me that they felt were beneath them. And what I knew of elves was that they were not trustworthy, that they betrayed us in the past. What I knew of men was that they were stupid and short-sighted and greedy. I knew nothing of hobbits, little of orcs. And then we went on this quest, and I found that everyone's more complicated than I was taught. I was taught that orcs were just murderous monsters, best friends. I was taught that elves couldn't be trusted, and yet we were shown great kindness in Rivendell. And while in Mirkwood they were far less welcoming, we still found good in them there. We found good in the spiders. We found good in the orcs of the Misty Mountains. And I see everywhere there are people just in need of some compassion, so... I don't know how one can justify what's did to my people. But I also feel like if I don't ask him for his side of the story, I will never feel at peace with this adventure, so... Dangerous as it is, I wanted to hear the dragon's side. What do you all think?
We have been told that he is the last of his kind, right?
Yeah.
He's not the last dragon. There are other dragons. Smaug is believed to be the last of the great Uroloki fire drakes. He is the greatest dragon still living, and even Smaug is a humble shadow compared to creatures like Caligon the Black.
Fair enough.
Smaug is the last of a great line, much as Belmont and Thorin are sort of the last of the line of Thrain, son of Thoror.
In a sense, from what I gathered from Davrid Bowie's Keep, you are both last of your great lines, so...
If it's what you want, Belmont.
I mean, half of my plans involve me just straight up going up and talking to him. maybe inviting him down to the Shire. Plus, that's
Although
one-
I also found out that speaking with riddles is probably the best way to converse with a dragon. But
Oh, I think we should be safe. We should try and do this smartly. I don't know how to convince a dragon to have a conversation that doesn't end in roasting us alive. But then a year ago, I would have said I wouldn't know how to have a conversation with an orc that didn't end with one of us getting stabbed. So
I'm still
I think
hedging
there's
my
a
bets.
way. I don't know how to get there, but I think there's a possibility.
I think my whole reason of being here is probably one of the greatest riddles I know of. So that no one's
That's
able
more
to give me
mystery
a
than
solid
riddle,
answer
but
one way
I
or the
get it.
other.
Talking every single time they're
Everybody was robotic for a minute there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
here.
Discord had a poopy.
Discord had a shit bit.
Anyways, that's what I was saying. Because I don't know if it happened during my talking or somebody else's, but so I'm just gonna assume it happened. It was mine and move on.
Mhm.
Where was I?
Yeah.
That Erin had just said that. Oh, her reason of being here is one of the greatest riddles she knows of, and that nobody, even wizards here, don't even know the answer to. So that's one of the best riddles she got, and things to offer a dragon. Well, she is a queen. Perhaps trading one kingdom for another
Mhm.
could be beneficial.
So your solution is to have a dragon murder instead of people.
I mean, half of my plan was to like have y'all do some weird elaborate thing outside, and then I sneak in and just talk to them. So hey, ignore the elaborate plan for y'all doing something outside.
Well, not in a.
Hello?
Hello.
I'm
Everyone-
sorry. I was just waiting for you guys to continue to get a plan of action going.
So do we just?
I keep seeing Kay's thing light up, but I don't hear anything, so I was wondering.
Irina's whole plan idea is offer him a slice of her kingdom, so to speak. Also, as a place of sanctuary, and potentially a place of sanctuary for every other displaced people in this world.
You need to figure out how to get there first.
That's why I need to talk to Sheila.
Well, if you offer something to a dragon that you don't actually have, that dragon's going to get very angry.
She has a point.
I mean, like, yeah.
It's a good offer, but you can't give him that unless you can get him there.
There's a reason I kept Stabby and Punch or whatever I'm calling them now.
That reason is?
What dragon has a horde of stabbing crabs?
Historically, dragons are not fond of investments that pay off only in the long term. They want immediate returns for what they invest.
I was just gonna give him the crabs that stab. That's pretty.
That was Sauron talking to Erina.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we should take a detour and go speak to Shelob then.
That is
That would be a very long detour. We'd be going months out of our way.
We got the goblins.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
I should punch you where you stand, TT.
You've been saving that one, haven't you, TT?
I mean, I had to wait for the appropriate moment. I didn't expect it to come this soon.
We could offer him the Misty Mountains once they're empty. They're leaving right now as we speak.
Aren't the dwarves gonna want those?
It's
the dwarves would want here.
The thing
it's true.
is,
My people would like both, actually, and Moria back.
and the dragon is sitting on a pile of treasure. Misty Mountains do not have piles of treasure.
I had one cave gremlin and a bunch of rings, which we all still have.
I'm going to continue to have it. Thank you, Crambone.
This thing's done nothing for me, so
I mean, hey, if I gotta give up a ring and my crabby boys, it means we live. Hey,
I don't think the ring's gonna do anything.
I think
I imagine Arena's ring is saying, "Don't give me to the dragon."
Anywho, let,
Cause that'll be a hell of a headache for Sauron trying to get back.
TT.
Conventional wisdom says that this is Belmont. Says that dragons are greedy and drawn to gold. Of course, conventional wisdom also says that about dwarves, and I don't think that's the case for all of us.
well, let's go talk to him. If it turns into a greedy, fire-breathing monster like all them stories say, then we learn better. Or we're dead. It doesn't matter.
Some of us have invisibility rings, so that should give us an advantage, so he doesn't hone in on our location.
Am I echoing?
No, you're not.
Okay, that was. Scatha says I am, though.
Somebody was.
I don't hear an echo. Echo. Oh yeah, I guess you are.
Son of a bitch, you fucking microphone. Bad microphone.
Hello.
Hello.
We need to find something
It's
to
still
offer
me.
him.
Something,
Or we work.
something immediate.
Well, you said we have those invisibility rings. Maybe first just use reconnaissance.
What?
You cut out a bunch.
You
I
said
agree
you said we have those invisibility rings. Maybe first we should do some reconnaissance.
That'd probably be wise and have the people invisible talking, or, if any case, get the hell out if shit goes
I
south.
mean, that's fine.
Although, one thing we should never mention that we came from the town.
Do I look like a human to you?
I mean,
I found these
he
crabs
doesn't
in the
look
woods
like a hobbit.
fighting spiders. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think the reconnaissance is a good idea.
Well,
Agreed.
Alright, who among us have invisibility rings?
just me and you, technically.
Alright, that's...
Can more than one of these rings operate at the same time on one person?
I don't think so.
I think you get one ring in 5e, yeah.
I think
Makes
it's
no sense.
one ring per hand, I think.
Per hand?
Well, I think technically you should be able to use 10. I don't think you can stack invisibility though. I don't even know what the fuck that would be.
I was considering having Dorothy give Mimosa her ring of jumping in case something goes south and she needs a little extra boost.
I think the rule state is one ring per hand, not one ring per, at least for 5e. Because,
Yeah, I guess that would be a way to balance it, and plus, probably take some concentration for magic or whatever the fuck.
and I think you can also only be attuned to 5 magical items at once.
Mm-hmm.
Just
One
like
per
my
hand.
life.
Okay, so it's one per hand, right?
I think so, yes.
Mimosa, if you're going in there, she takes off her own ring and puts it on Mimosa's free hand. In case things go south.
Well, let's hope they don't, but it's much appreciated.
Oh.
I think I should go at very least.
Granny's the man. Just be
The
careful.
most is
We have-
far more agile.
We have two rings of invisibility. Why don't you both go? Buddy system.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mimosa is much more agile.
Then yes, I think the two of us should go then. I got the knowledge and riddles.
I mean, do you have riddles for him though?
It's called the Google.
All right, y'all do that.
It's called my talking ring.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna go set up camp out front. Mimosa.
Also, this is gonna be funny. Klaus, do you know any riddles?
I know knock jokes.
Well, it's not really riddles that the dragon, speaking to the dragon, means. It means riddling talk.
Ah.
You cannot just
Knock,
give him
knock.
a riddle.
Who's there?
Orange.
Oh god.
Orange who?
Orange. Oh shit! I fucked it up. Okay. Knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana
Banana. Knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Christ.
Are you?
Banana.
Erina, focus!
Knock.
Erina, why is your eye twitching like that?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
It's actually not twitching. It's more of a, oh, you little shit, kind of genuine soft, you son of a bitch smile.
Y'all go do reconnaissance. I'm gonna go
Yes.
set up camp right in front of the dragon's lair. Totally
Alright.
not the worst place I could.
You all get up to the top of the lonely mountain. Right to the door, the secret door. Belmont opens it, find trouble, and turns to you all and says, "Can you imagine if I didn't know how this worked, and we need to get a special map, the detailed instructions for it, and then I almost fucked it up because I didn't listen to a fucking bird?
That'd be silly.
Can you imagine if I didn't just know how to open the back door to my own damn house?"
That sounds ridiculous.
That sounds stupid.
Incredibly stupid.
From the sounds of it, sounds like something your brother fucked up.
Yeah.
Did you ever use it to lock him out of the house?
Yeah. He was pissed. All right. I don't
I
know
think
where
that
in
he
the
did-
castle the dragon is, but these stairs should lead you into the treasure room. I think there's a very good chance that this would be where you find him. So
Be
Also,
really
I
weird
take it
if,
you
like,
didn't know that there was a key underneath the welcome mat.
it's not a welcome mat. Oh, a joke. Oh, what fun shapes we have. This has been a lovely adventure.
All right.
I'm going to be very
Y'all
sad.
take care.
Belmont.
I hope that we don't die.
Hopefully.
Same.
That would be very nice, yes.
Although, knowing my luck, I'm probably going to end up in another world where backstabbing is the order of the day for no rhyme and reason.
That sounds like a bitch and a half. If I had
Sounds
me
like
an hour.
West Earth. West Earth sucks.
Yeah, I went
No
there
one-
for
no
a
one
while.
goes to
You were there
West
for a bit.
You know, at first you go to West Earth and you think, oh, this is new and refreshing, and when you realize it's just full of shit.
Yeah, that's why I came back.
Oh god.
Anyway, Erina, Mimosa, I can't thank you enough for undertaking this. Please come back safely.
I'll try.
Mimosa kind
I'll be
of
out.
does a little salute and says, "I'll do my best," and then she pops her ring on.
All right.
right.
Let's go set
We're
up
gonna
some
also
camp
just
and enjoy
poof.
some fiddles.
Okay.
This is a horrible idea, but I got other options.
Our two invisible folks trot down the dark and stairs. And the further down you get, the more a very unique scent begins to fill your nostrils. It's a musk. It's a it's a sort of dusty animal smell. It's not a thick, palpable reek like rot and decay. It's more of a subtle scent of dead skin cells. It's a dusty smell, a very strange musk, but a very thick scent. It's one that it may not necessarily be unpleasant, but it definitely makes you go, "Whew, okay." It is.
It's a scent you can feel.
Yeah, it's dragon stink. The odor of dragon. And eventually you get to the end of the stairs and you see beyond you a hall larger than any you have ever set foot in. A hall that makes Rivendell look like a shack. And it is filled with hills and valleys and almost mountains of gold and silver and platinum and shining, shimmering gems. Some of it in gold, some of it in coins, some of it as just cut gems, some of it in crowns, scepters, gilded cups and tea sets, just all sorts of precious items just littering the floor in great massive heaps as far as the eye can see.
Jesus Christ, look at all this garbage.
It is very gaudy. It is also definitely more than 3 wagons full.
Like 3 wagons full, I imagine will barely make a dent into this. Barely
Yes.
a percentage.
Yes. It is a ridiculous amount of wealth.
Hey, at least the goblins just wanted to live here.
So, what do you guys do?
Well, first off, I'm gonna do this real quick. Just in case we do have to do a stealth check. Mimosa's going to bullshit this magic by sort of coaching
Yeah.
Erina where to step and to not shift the coins too much.
Basically telling Erina to follow in her footsteps.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you guys enter the treasure hall?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let me get a thing. All right.
I imagine you're changing the map.
Just a little bit.
Alright.
Okay. You are in the treasure hall. Please make stealth checks.
Alright. Thanks for the plus 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 7. That is a 28.
All right.
So
All right. Good.
35.
Excellent. You guys are super stealthy. Do you want to proceed into the room a bit? Let's say you can move 6 squares at a time.
Alright.
Sure.
I'm letting Mimosa take the lead.
I will go this way. 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna stop at 4.
All right. Good.
1,
So you walk down. Oh, okay.
3, 4.
What?
So you get down. You start crawling up a hill of gold, and you start down, and that's when you realize you guys were way closer than you thought. Also, he's very large. You see a dragon. And you know, when the elves told you stories of dragons, showed you picture books, they showed knights fighting a creature a little bit bigger than a horse. This is quite a bit bigger than a horse. This is quite a bit bigger than a horse, is what this is. You see this creature that's at least several times the size of a horse, sleeping on its belly. Its long serpentine neck curled, so its head rests on a nice pile of gold, with these great gigantic horns like those of a goat atop a head like a crocodile's. You see these enormous leathery wings curled up on its back, sheltering its body, and that long, slithery serpentine tail curled up like a boa behind it. And this creature fills the room almost as much as the treasure it's laying upon.
I don't think a gun is to address this.
Probably
Uranus
not.
says,
Would you both make dex saves?
Alright.
Okay, good. The dragon's tongue suddenly flicks out of its mouth a good feet out from its lips and almost touches you, but you both manage to back away quietly just in time. Which is when you notice that its eyes are half open. Well, you.
what was that you cut out?
Well, I smell. I feel your air.
You keep cutting out.
Damn it!
Discord is trying to fuck up your smog moment, TT.
This is fucking me up. Goddamn. Okay. I'm gonna fucking hold the mic. How about that, Discord, you son of a bitch?
Excellent.
Well, thieves. I smell you. I feel your air. I hear your breaths. Come along. Help yourselves. There is plenty and to spare.
We did not come for treasures.
I find that hard to believe.
No, I'm quite serious. All of this, makes me gag.
At that, Smog stops playing asleep. His head raises up. And when it does, it looms like stories above you. Really?
I mean, I'm sure it's all very nice for you, but not my thing? Really?
The dragon picks up some of the gold in its hand.
It's like, I can't eat it. The hell am I gonna do with it?
It's very comfortable to lay upon.
Well, probably for you, because you're very big. You're also very, very pretty, but that's a different story. No, if I can't eat it, if I can't sleep on it because it's not soft enough, then I don't really care. Your treasure is quite safe from me.
Yeah, same here.
I thought I smelled human. But
Narnian, but...
Narnian. With two
Certainly.
G's?
Yes.
I think you're supposed to say it like you're gargling, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
It sounds like you drown if you say it too much.
Honestly, that is a better alternative.
And the dragon, despite himself, smiles. So, if I believe that you did not come here for my treasure, which is a hard pill to swallow, what did bring you hither?
Honestly, to talk with you?
Oh! Conversation. Okay. What did you wish to discuss with the Tremendous?
Your side of the story, from what?
And at
Because
that, the dragon lifts an eyebrow.
From what I've gathered, elves and men and orcs and wolves all have differing opinions on how great, on what you are and what you desire. But from what we've seen, they said the same about everything else. So we have made peace with spiders and made peace with goblins and made peace with us. And
Did not
And
make
so-
peace with elves, though.
I mean, technically you did.
Mimosa's still really proud of herself, and she's laughing.
The dragon is confused, which means he's intrigued.
my name is Erna. I come from a world called Earth, and I walked into a wardrobe and ended up in Narnia, where apparently I'm a queen there. But then one of my shit younger siblings.
Aaron, you hear in
Straight
your head, you're telling him too much.
Her life sucks right now.
Yes, it does. The shittiest of all.
And, being what you are, and being how old and great you are, have you heard of anything like whatever the hell that shit was?
Smaug shifts in his golden bed and kind of stares around the room for a minute. No one's ever had the audacity to come into my home and ask for life advice. I don't know how to. This is a. I'm kind of impressed. I don't know how I should react to this.
To
All
be
right,
honest, nobody else was answering our damn questions. Figured you'd either eat us or answer.
All I've been told is to go to Shelob, so
Oh, I don't know what answer that old hag can give you. All right, so okay, go over it again one more time. You're from a world called Narnia. Is that in the Western Earth, Eastern Earth, Northern Earth?
I think did I say it was Gandalf
Top Earth, I
said
think.
Gandalf said something about the top Earth, but I'm not sure.
Top Gandalf, the Grey, the Stormcrow.
Yeah, apparently I ended up in his closet.
It wouldn't be the first time women's clothes were in there.
Well, I mean, he's very fashionable in them.
Oh, I wouldn't say he isn't.
It's Moggy judging.
I'm a dragon. You think I give a shit? So, well, Top Earth, if I remember, whenever Gandalf refers to Top Earth, I believe Morgoth said he was really talking about planes beyond our plane, so... Never quite had a head for understanding that, how there could be other worlds than our own. So you come from a... We'll call it a different country.
Close enough.
One that is very hard to get back to, and that you don't know how you got here from, correct?
Yes.
So you're trying to get back.
To an extent. Both places I come from are quite,
Shit.
to put it mildly, one is in constant always winter, and the other is... Well, I don't think it has a good future.
There were two? You've done this twice?
Regrettably.
We told you. Your life's been shit lately.
one of which apparently I'm a queen of, but
Which one is that?
the Narnia.
So that's the Always Winter one, or the...
Yeah, because
The
look,
always
apparently
winter
there's
It's the Always Winter one. I don't
Apparently-
think I'd want to be queen of a place that was always winter. But
apparently it's because of some sort of witch. Who
Oh,
calls
have
herself queen.
consider just killing her?
I'm pretty sure that's why we were summoned there in the first place, but
Oh, so it's like an assassination thing. You kill her, and then you get to take her house.
that was
Sounds about right to me.
Who,
Why
who,
just
gave
when
you,
you
who
were-
gave you the offer?
an asshole lion, and then there was this
A lion?
a talking lion. Yes.
A talking lion? Okay.
Look, we know
I'm
this
just
sounds
a
like
guy.
I know wolves can talk, but lions, that's... No, so... Talking
No.
lion wants you to kill a witch, and he's offering you... I would not take that deal. If you would like some life advice, when someone comes up to you and says, commit murder for me, I will give you a reward, don't. Because they're lying, and they're trying to use you. Just like
Yeah.
they'll use your family and your friends, and they're trying to get you on board of their cause with the promise of a reward, when really they are the ones who will be taking the kingdom. This talking lion probably just wants you to do his dirty work, and I say, let the tyrants do their own dirty work. If you want something, you take it for yourself. You don't get others to take it for you. That's a coward's way of doing this. And besides, a place that's constantly in winter, the game would be terrible. Winter is the worst season for hunting. I try to sleep through it.
Apparently, if the witch dies, winter ends. But
So the lion let the witch take over, and now his world's gone to shit, and he needs you to clean it up for him so he can take the credit. Yes, that sounds like a fair deal.
yeah, in hindsight, that really sounds like we got real fucked over.
Sounds like some absolute bullshit.
I agree.
it sounds something like something somebody wrote in a book in a cocaine binge or something.
If I were you, I would tell the lion to go hang himself, and if he tries to try to force you into it, I would just kill him. Then I would go out and find someplace better to make your own. You don't have to let these other tyrants rule and decide your life. You're your own being.
Yeah,
Take
but
what you need.
But I'm also kind of in a situation where now I don't know where else to go because I'm several worlds away, and everywhere else I'm in a shit heap.
Well, I mean, it's not too bad here. I wouldn't stay in Lake Town, they're horrible little tub-thumping lakemen. Stink of fish and the drunk elf neighbors, but there are places in Middle-earth. You're close enough to human. There's plenty of kingdoms that would accept you, and the Dark Lord is dead, his ring is lost, so...
What's this about a ring?
Yes, so there was, let's see, the most palpable threat to the peace in this realm was a fellow named Sauron, a ring into which he funneled all of his power and malice, a very powerful magical weapon. And, he lost it like a chump in a battle that he shouldn't have picked in the first place. Even despite conning several other very good-bodied creatures into fighting for him, and then buggered off because human beings just whipped his ass like a little bitch.
Don't sound
The
too
ring
impressed
is-
with a good old Sauron.
Oh, he was a bloviating idiot, just an absolute ponce. Now remember, dragons lie.
Oh shit.
Just an absolute idiot thinking he has to continue Morgoth's war just because, Well, it's a history lesson you don't need. Suffice to say, he's gone. Some of his orcs are still around, but have you seen orcs without a master? It's a bunch of stupid thugs. Half the time they end up dressing up and just making rock bands while occasionally mugging passers-by. They're not really a threat. Trolls, they mostly stick into their mountains, and when they do come down, you just trick them into staying up until the sun rises, and boom, you've got some very nice, usable stone.
Well, you seem to be one of the wisest creatures I've met since the beginning. Do you know
Yes,
rings
that is
usually
very
talk?
true. Do I know of what?
Rings usually talk.
I know that there are enchanted handbags, so I guess a ring could be enchanted to speak. Not sure why one would do that, though. How would it happen anyway? Would the ring just sort of wibble on your finger?
It's the talks in your head, I think.
Oh.
Sounds
Weird.
annoying.
Luckily, none of my rings talk.
That's good to know.
Wear
Thank
them
you.
anyway.
Thank you for that. Good though. I thought I was going crazy, but okay.
Do you have a talking ring? Tell him no. I don't want to be coveted by a dragon, please.
I'm gonna roll something here.
Christ.
TT,
Yeah.
have Smog and Sauron roll competing persuasion checks.
Okay.
Holy Christ. Holy Christ.
So Smaug got 23 and Sauron 34.
I am obliged to say no. Something I can't...
Buy the talking ring. And Sauron's like, I told you you're saying too much.
I don't know, I'm confused. I've never been in this situation before.
I've never heard your ring talk.
Listen, my gun talks to me too, so...
Oh, that explains it. She's just fucking nuts.
What's a gun?
You know what a crossbow is?
Don't tell him about me, please! I'm scared of the big dragon! Let's get that big Narnia! Yes, please don't tell him about Klaus. I don't want Klaus to get hurt.
Oh my god.
I don't want Klaus to get hurt. Well, it's like a crossbow, just it goes a lot faster and it's like a rocket propelled.
What's a rocket?
Well, you know what fireworks are?
Yes.
Like that. Only you like aim it in a place. Is that, am I saying that right? You can aim it?
Yeah, to an extent.
So like an arrow with a firework on it that you shoot out and then light the firework and... How would you make sure that it goes straight?
Barrel construction, I guess.
Barrel. So there's a barrel involved now?
It's like a tube, but you got to make sure the arrow goes straight.
Well, Narnians, this is a very interesting conversation. Haven't had company this pleasant in... I've never had company this pleasant.
Oh.
explains a lot about what people consider the quote-unquote evil of Middle-earth. It's like, just fucking talk to people. Nobody ever does that.
Racism never ends well for anyone.
This was a pleasant meeting. I will forgive the fact that you intruded upon my home. In fact, you are welcome to come back again.
I'm wondering if we should bring up the fact that there's company outside, and this is out of character. I'm pondering of what to say. If we
Yeah,
should keep this conversation going, or if we should bring up the fact that, yeah, there's a dwarf outside. He's wondering about his house.
Out of character, you could just invite him to Crampone's shindig. That conveniently is outside.
Oh, then he'd be angry that you tricked him to leave his house. And then he'd come back to find you guys trying to take his house.
I mean, I think we've got him in a place where he might listen to what we're saying.
Yeah, he seems to be in a good mood now.
If we brought one of our friends in to meet you, would he get the same protection as we do without these rings? He's just as good a conversationalist as we are.
Would I be offered the same protection? Normally when people come here, they try to kill me.
Oh.
If he tries to kill you, I will stop him personally.
same.
And I will hold you to that. And then I will hold to my end of the bargain.
Okay, well, let's go get Belmont, and he complete his case.
Alright. So you guys bring Belmont in. And when you, like, the minute Belmont comes within, like, halfway down the stairs, there is the sound of gold shifting massively. And by the time you guys get to the entrance, Smaug is waiting for you, and he now looks very tense. You did not mention your friend was a dwarf, son of Thrain, son of Thror. Yes, I am Belmont, and you seem to know my family by smell. By smell.
You should bathe more, Belmont.
Oh, no amount of bathing would remove that reek. Smaug the Magnificent. Oh, was using titles. Should I call you Prince Belmont? Or are you king under the mountain now? Why is the runt of the litter seeing me? I think you can guess. Want your precious little kingdom back. But, yes, but more than that, I want to know why. Why what? Why you took it. It can't just be the gold. Oh, aren't you sure? Are you sure of that? I thought it was written in all the books that dragons are motivated by nothing but gold and jewels and precious gems. We are nothing but things that covet what sturdy, upright dwarves and men have created. Isn't that the conventional wisdom? That's what books say, but I have reason to believe that there's more to it than that, and I want to hear your side, if possible. All right. I first came to this mountain many centuries ago, when I was young and tender. No smelly little dwarves dwelled in it then. It was empty, cold, its tunnels as jagged and hostile as the untouched wilderness, and oh, how I loved it. There, safe from prying eyes, I hid the greatest treasure I knew. The next generation of Uruloki, my first and only offspring. I still remember the glint on their iridescent shells. You could see every color, depending on where you held it in the light. And before my presence could be discovered, and my brood enslaved to that tin-plated despot, that wretched pretender to Morgoth's throne, I fled to a land far from here, leaving my children in their shells to grow. We dragons are long-lived and grow slowly. Without my fire at their hearth, they would grow slower still. Centuries would pass as they hid among the stones of the mountain, far from prying eyes, or so I thought. Though the company of my host, a distant relation, Chrysophylax Dives, was not particularly pleasant, I did not dare to return until I was certain that the despot had waned in power. What would I find upon my homecoming? Yes, Belmont, son of Thrain, son of Thror. Dwarves! Filthy, putrid dwarves, carving my home into a fortress for their brood. Oh, my fury was insatiable, but it paled to what came when I drove you little beasts out, my clutch. My little ones, they should have been close to hatching. Where my nest had been, a throne room sat. Every tunnel had been smoothed and tiled, fitted to a dwarf's purpose, and my offspring nowhere to be seen. But only assume they were destroyed, all 10 of my children, the last hope for the line of Uroloki, snuffed before the first ember of life could spark. Can you understand my rage? You said that your eggs were iridescent? Yes. How big were they? Not much bigger than your head. Have you been able to enter the vault? The secret vault.
Ooh.
And Thrain trots across the treasure room and eventually gets to a place that has been sort of buried beneath the treasure and moves some of the gold away until he opens a door. And he goes inside and retrieves an enormous opal. We called this the Arkenstone. It was my grandfather's prized possession. And Smaug tenderly reaches out with a talon and strokes the little egg.
Oh,
We only found one when we were carving the mountain out. Smaug holds out his hand, and Belmont places the egg in Smaug's hand, and the dragon clutches it and brings it close to him.
Oh,
And breathes a small jet of flame until the egg hatches.
oh,
And out comes a little tiny baby dragon.
oh.
Excuse me, Spog the Tremendous, but Mimosa takes off her ring and goes over and, like, kind of coos at the little baby dragon.
oh.
Oh.
Look at him. He's perfectly formed. Strong wings and strong horns. Last of my Uroloki. All right, dwarf. I will take you at your word that you found only one of 10 children. So how do we settle this, then? This place is my family's home, but it's your family's home as well. Is there a way we can live together?
Oh.
How long have you been living amongst the humans, dwarf? Most of my life. There's more of them in you than of dwarf.
We might also have an additional protection if you should be willing, oh great Smaug.
Explain.
The goblins of the Misty Mountains under Davrid Bowie and the spiders of Mirkwood are looking for a new home and hunting. Should you permit them, they might be willing to protect protect your stock and your kin should they be given a place of residence.
So, Erebor would be home to dwarves, dragons, spiders, and goblins.
Sounds like a party.
Is this the future you want, oh king under the mountain? I prefer to just be called Belmont, and I just want a place for my people to live. And I think we could benefit from the differing perspectives. Why do we all live separately when we live together? Learn from each other. Protect each other. Considering that we're all vulnerable. And at that, Smaug looks at the baby, sort of nestling into his talons.
I am absolutely trying to pet it right now, and Smaug can't see me now.
The baby dragon is sort of curled up. It's doing the ball python thing.
Aww.
Because it's timid and scared. They hatch out. They're very vulnerable.
Nemos is being very patient. She's got her hand kind of just out, waiting for it to come to it if it wants. She's absolutely just making stupid baby noises.
And what if your people don't agree, Belmont? What will you do then? If my people don't agree, then they are in the position that they were before by choice.
Well, the Misty Mountains would have been empty by that point if the goblins come.
To be fair, we only got that one tribe. There are many tribes in the Misty Mountains. I am willing to live with spider, goblins, and dwarves, provided that I and my brood are not hurt. If you agree to that, then there shall be no ire from me. I can agree. And with that, an alliance between Smaug and Belmont. Congrats! Belmont has now made alliance with dragons, orcs, and spiders.
We did the impossible, ladies and gentlemen.
Can the rest of us come in now?
Yeah, you can come in. So eventually, introductions are made.
Did it go well? Crambone has looped back to country roads 3 times now.
Look, everybody
yes,
got a favorite town.
We've made a pact. I told Smaug I was gonna bring the rest of the party, and he said it's cool. Just don't hurt the baby.
Baby?
There's a baby.
Baby?
There is a baby.
And it's too
Don't
late.
meet the
Grandma's
baby.
already running in.
Come meet the baby.
Rainbow, no!
No, he's
So
adorable.
Mimosa!
They're adorable. Come here.
So
Like,
Trevor looks
Grandma
at
around the corner and goes, God!
How to
Damn,
homicide
bigger
with
than a horse.
Smog? Make it the best day of his fucking life right now.
All right. So you guys all come down there, and Smaug has his hand just maybe 5 feet above the ground as the little baby dragon is sort of slithering in between his fingers.
Oh!
Oh my god.
It's about the size of a squirrel.
Oh my god!
I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Smog. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Sotra is in awe of the little baby.
And he will
Does
Whoops.
he have a name?
We dragons pick our names when we all.
Sotra gently and quietly walks as close to the baby as she is allowed.
It's so fucking cute. Like, my little Texan heart's gonna burst.
Oh.
Dorothy plucks a chunk of venison and holds it out to the baby.
The little dragon stops and sort of curls around Smog's ring finger. And it looks up to the big daddy dragon who nods, and the little dragon very cautiously reaches out with its neck, grabs the venison, and darts back and wraps around the finger again. And sort of chews a little bit before swallowing it in one piece.
Oh,
It's a very cute baby dragon.
Well, Belmont, I see elves and I see orcs. Seems you're delivering on your promise already. These ones, I don't think, will be living with us.
I literally got nowhere else to go.
A stable home is not exactly the best thing for a performing artist, but not gonna lie, this place does look pretty nice. Probably has some good acoustics.
You really think the treasure is gaudy?
No, sir! You did not!
I did too.
You told him his treasure was gaudy?
I mean, it's a little ostentatious, says Belmont.
Niece, I mean, that was either the smartest move you could ever make, or the dumbest, and I'm not quite sure which.
It was probably both at once.
Listen, there's very few things that are softer on the scales than gold.
I mean, that's fair.
What about
I mean,
dirt?
I have slept
Dirt
on
is
some-
soft, but it gets into the scales. It's terrible to clean out. You get gold pieces, it's a very nice, comfortable lay without the stiffness of solid stone or the filthiness and grime of dirt.
I'm gonna have to try that sometime. I've slept on too many rocks.
Can we
Starting
see
to hit
his
my
gold?
back in my old age.
Can we see the gold
Yeah.
underbelly now?
At this point, you have seen enough of Smog to realize his stomach is encrusted with the gold coins because he's been sleeping here so long.
I admit, I was wondering why you were called Smog the Golden when you were clearly red.
Now, see, you wear it well.
Thank you. It's this is more of a body armor thing than a wealth thing. Oh, got a little bear patch here, don't I?
Yeah, you might want to solve that.
I should cover that up. So pat some gold coins onto the bear patch over his left breast. As bare as a snail out of its shell.
There, now it's perfect.
It's a pretty good way of armoring oneself, but I must admit that occasionally little bits fall off here and there. And that was right over my heart. That would have been really embarrassing.
That's like a fatal weakness point right there. That
Yeah,
could be
some,
bad.
lucky, some bastard would have gotten a lucky shot without even asking him.
Real Achilles heel.
We can't have that now, can we?
Well, yeah. Not gonna lie, this has one of been the best days of my journeys. And I've had a lot of them.
Anyways, we should probably send word to the goblin fighters now.
Yeah, they're just in the Shire. Can't be too far out.
They probably didn't
What?
reach the Shire. We didn't exactly tell them where it is, and for some reason everybody has a really hard time finding it.
That's kind of the fun of it, though. We're just telling them, "I'll just go to the Shire." They start wandering around like.
Belmont tweets, and a few minutes later, a thrush flies into the room.
What's a
And
thrush?
it's like a type of bird.
Okay.
A small little bird flies in, lands on Belmont's arm, and Belmont makes more bird noises at it, and then it flies away.
What did you do?
Now,
Belmont,
I
what
gotta
the
do
fuck?
I gotta do that with slashing.
Is it wrong that I understood every word of that?
That's true.
Yeah.
You can talk to animals.
You don't speak thrush?
I speak. I understand every animal lately. Is that weird?
I've
Yes.
gotten the crabs to swear, but that's about it.
I only speak whippet.
Whippet good.
Sotra's
Oh, I got that ring that helps me talk to him, don't I? Let me check.
Sotra's looking at everyone like they're nuts right now.
Well, I told the thrush to get a message to the goblin. I don't think the goblins speak thrush, but it'll figure something out.
But if they eat the thrush,
I mean, to be fair, Mr. David Browie or whatever, I think he's gonna have a good old time with it.
Well,
be fair-
the plus side is the thrush speaks crow, and I'm pretty sure goblin crow.
To be fair, Mr. Browie was definitely a songbird.
oh,
And it's true, goblins do speak crow. That's how Morgoth and Sauron commanded a lot of things.
See, the more I hear about this Sauron in my later years, the more I realize he's a bit of an edgy asshole.
Well, he's dead, so it doesn't really matter.
Fair enough.
Chump ass bitch.
Arena hand hurt for some reason.
Sauron got what he deserved.
Well, congratulations on the baby. I feel weird.
I mean, with all the goblins and the orcs and now the dragon. I was wondering for a bit if Sauron maybe was misunderstood, but if the dragon's calling him a bitch-ass punk, probably not.
You should have heard him when he came to my door and said, all the dragons are going to get in on this big fight with the humans and wipe them out. I laughed in his face. And then he threatened to kill me.
Oh, that probably didn't go very well for him.
So I bit him and I tossed him out of my room. Oh. And then I flew away. He could carry out that threat.
Well, still good on you.
He didn't see it coming, though. I just chucked him a straight, 500 feet away.
Man, this is going great.
It's too bad that there's not a way to, record memories so you can play that back and just watch it again and again.
It's too
That
bad he's
would be
not here
fantastic.
so I could rub it in his face.
We should name the session the Roast of Sauron. No, the Desolation of Sauron, because he's desolated right now.
God, he's getting... And he's just sitting there and he has to take it. Because he's a punk-ass bitch. Oh my god.
He's gonna go cry and write his diary crying.
Oh, shit, okay.
Oh.
So...
Sounds like this Sauron fella is kind of a dick.
Oh no! Oh!
Maybe he just didn't know how his choices would be perceived. Yeah. Maybe he should have rethought some things.
Oh my god. We're giving Sauron a midlife crisis.
Alright, so you all have a relatively cheerful time at Smaug's. Belmont negotiates with Smaug for the wealth of the place, and actually manages to get Smaug to agree to parting with half of the treasure hoard, which is incredibly generous on the dragon's part, given how negotiations like this normally go. But since half of the hoard is still plenty for both Smaug and his child to rest upon, even when the child gets bigger, it's a compromise that Smaug can live with. And Thorin can now repay some debts, Belmont can now repay some debts, which he feels is very important.
So we gotta send 3 cartloads to that one asshole. And we gotta send 4 cartloads to that sweet old thing who's running that hotel down in Lake Town.
I wouldn't worry about the 3 cartfuls.
What did you do?
Who all do you owe money to? Well, I promised some to an innkeeper, and the master of Lake Town demanded some on the condition that we win. Did he?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Belmont, he's probably going to have to negotiate for me to open the door.
And here I was worried you were killing people. Now you're just trapping them.
Oh, he just locked in his
My morning
basement.
was.
He just locked
Never
in his
change,
basement.
Mimosa. Never
You
change.
locked him in his basement, you say?
Yeah.
Who's talking to Belmont right now?
Mimosa.
And Smaug.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Smaug, before I forget,
Yes.
you seem like a pretty knowledgeable guy.
Oh, I'm very intelligent.
Have you ever heard of an entity called Wiggins?
A dark look grows on Smaug's face. I have faced the warriors of old, and there are none of their like today. But Wiggins.
Christ.
He's alright, feller. A little odd in the head. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yes, so the master of Lake Town insisted that we agree to give him some of the treasure should we succeed as a sort of insurance investment on the event that we fail and you destroy Lake Town and penance. That does sound like something I would do. Yes. He was like, he was going to kill us in our inn. Seems kind of rude. Yeah, it's a little rude. So
What happened while I was out?
we agreed to give him some money to not murder us as well as this diplomacy.
Then I followed him to his house and locked him in his basement.
So is he well liked?
No.
Not particularly. It seems like most people kind of just sort of put up with him because he's in charge and has money. Mind if I step out for him? His would probably be the most large, ostentatious house in Lake Town, correct? Yeah, probably. I'm gonna step out for a moment.
Do you want us to watch your son?
Oh, yes, please.
I will do so gladly, and I will teach him all sorts of fun songs.
Oh no.
Little dragon curls up into a ball in Belmont's hand as Smaug leaves for the front entrance.
I think I just got 3 men killed.
Damn it!
And
You're
there's a
beating my
sound
record,
of mass screaming from Lake Town, followed by an explosive burst of fire, and then followed by mass cheers as Smaug
Just like Tolkien.
Holy shit.
That was a nice walk. And with that, and so passes your first night in the Lonely Mountain. You guys nap in pretty well furnished rooms. Turns out Erebor wasn't completely destroyed when Smaug ransacked it. He actually left a lot of it intact. Just made his way to the treasure room and tried to search for something very valuable to him that he couldn't find anymore. You wake up the next day to a sound of cawing. You go to the mouth, to the mouth of Erebor, which used to be a set of gates, but is now just a ruin. And there is a crow.
Hello?
Hello!
Oh, did David send you?
Yes!
You can understand that?
I mean, I'm talking!
Oh, okay.
He's speaking common.
See,
I
I
didn't know
told
they could do
you.
that.
Davrid would have a solution. He's clever like that. I can respect him.
What is the update with him?
Well, good news, bad news. Which would you like?
Good news first.
Okay, well, Davrid and the spiders and the diamond dog are all on their way.
And the bad news?
Oh, the bad news, yes. All the other Misty Mountain orcs have gone to Mordor. Probably not great. Also, there's an army of dwarves coming from the Iron Hills, and an army of elves coming from Mirkwood, and another army of elves coming from Rivendell.
How are the Mirkwood elves doing anything? They're shitting their insides out.
They have no.
I'm only a crow, but I believe it has been a couple of days.
But that was all of their liquor, though. All of it.
I
They probably
poisoned.
cottoned on after the second night.
I don't know. They
So
were
they're-
pretty.
We've got
All
an
right,
army
all
of
right.
hungover dwarves or hungover elves.
Well, we can assume the dwarves are hungover too.
Well, yeah.
Oh, there! You hear. And the crow turns around. Ah, it's a human! And you see Barb the bowwoman, now clad in well-fitted armor. And she verses, Hail to thee, king under the mountain! Or kings under the mountain?
Hello?
Both Belmont and Smaug emerge behind you all.
Hey, Barb,
You
how
see
you
Bob's
doing?
head just pop out of the mountain.
Alright, what's all this then? People of Lake Town made me their new queen.
Congratulations!
Bully for you. So we wanted to thank you for killing Lord Melchett. Real pain in our ass. Took him right out. Yes. So we've brought you some meager wealth in a show of gratitude and a desire to be neighborly. And there's like a cart full of gold. That's pitiful. Well, it's all we could scrape up. No, it's just sad. You're a town. Belmont, give them like 7 carts.
Oh.
Oh.
I was planning on like 20. Yeah, that's better. Get some people here to take 20 carts of gold. Okay. Thank you.
Getting his son back has turned Smaug into his sweetheart.
He's just pragmatic. You have to protect his son now, so.
Yeah, again, having a healthy town that is loyal to him is a good way to protect his son.
Oh, Barb, before you head out, quick question.
Yeah.
How's Stephen Colbert doing today?
Oh, he's doing great. Isn't that the one that's just an actual bear? What?
I knew it!
Nothing. Get your gold.
I knew it! You all always try and trick me, but I knew it!
Barb looks perplexed, but
Just
heads
a
back
man.
down to go get people to carry the gold. And then Smaug turns to Belmont's like, I've watched them treat him like he's a person for years. It's a bear. It's a bear in an ill-fitting shirt. How are they all bamboozled? It's not even wearing pants. I don't know.
They tried to make me think the goblin was a hobbit.
She is.
Dorothy is a hobbit.
What's a hobbit?
We are.
Yeah, it's what Mimissimus. I thought you were a Narnian.
No, well, that's only her.
I'm not a Nar. What's a Narnian?
I
That's
think
what
that's
Aaron
only-
is. And then
Not
they tried
really
to
a
make and they
Narnian
tried to make
either,
me
though.
think.
She's not really a Narnian either, though. She's a Earthling.
Earthling. That got a good ring to it.
No offense, Arena, but Earth is a weird name for it. It's like calling your place dirt.
Ah,
No offense.
none
Sure.
taken.
I'm sure Earth is a nice little place.
I mean,
It was better.
I mean, here is Middle Earth, so.
Well, I mean, that's the name of the continent. We don't call the entire world Middle Earth.
Fair
There's
enough.
other continents, too. Besides,
I'm
Middle
from-
Earth is the human
the
name
con-
for it.
The continent I'm from is Europe.
Wow, what's the dragon name for it?
Loosely translated, it's place full of tiny pests.
I believe it.
Where the food is too small and everything just makes you feel like you're not made for it.
Aw.
That one got me IRL.
Oh.
You know how many cows I have to eat when I'm awake? It's a lot of cows. I heard that in some places there are these big giant mammals that could feed you for months if you take one down.
Isn't that called elephants?
No, it's called olifants.
Yeah, or mumakils.
What the hell is an elephant?
They have really long tusks that are made
What's
of
that?
a very precious material called ivory.
Okay, I'll be right back. I need to go to the bathroom.
I think that's what our version of olifants called them.
What are those things with the really long necks and the really long tails?
Dragons?
No, they don't have wings.
Dragons?
They eat plants.
Well, not dragons. Hoogas?
So, we're gonna have hungover elves, which ain't gonna be too fun. Friendlier elves.
So we have an army of redneck elves after an army of hillbilly dwarves,
To be fair,
and some goblins have decided to go back to Mordor. Whoop-de-doo.
the elves are probably after me.
There are two armies of elves, and one of them actually seemed fairly nice when we met them, so not sure what that's about.
What did you do to the elves? She poisoned them so they all shot themselves for hours.
Hours? More like days.
I put it in every single bit of their wine, so now they have nothing to drink.
Where have you all been my life?
As it turns out, Smog is quite the prankster.
I was just happy to be a distraction for that one.
God, it's been so lonely.
What happened?
They told Smaug about Mirkwood.
Oh. It was.
She cracked a
remembered
damn
why I
smile.
I remembered why I left.
So,
Still trying to stop me from murdering a man that day.
in the intervening hours, people of Lake Town claim their share of the treasure, which I feel is very generous. And upon hearing that there are armies of dwarves and armies of elves descending upon them, they armor up and prepare to defend their newfound ally, who used to be the one who evicted their ancestors.
Oh.
And unless you guys have anything you want to do in the intervening, we're going to flash forward a couple of days.
Sounds good to me. I mean, probably get ready, get some shit, like pick up some more arrows, but that's probably easy to do.
We restock on whatever you need to restock it.
Yeah.
So, you all prepare, and sure enough, an army of dwarves comes from the Iron Hills, and an elf. And the dwarves are led by none other than Thorin, son of Thrain, son of...
What?
And his two cousins, Feely and Keely. The elves, meanwhile, are all looking incredibly ill, as if they had spent a couple days before marching shitting entirely too much. They march up, but they're clad in armor and they have their figs. And the two armies march up to the gates and are met. March up to the gates, only to see that there's an army of people from Lake Town defending the path to the Missing Mountains. And after some discussion with Barb the Bow Woman, Ronan the Elf Accuser, and Thorin, son of Thrain, son of Thror, approach for parley.
What about the goblins?
Belmont! You little shit! What have you done to my glittering kingdom? Smaug shook his head at, oh, hello, Thorin. How are things going with Smaug, you're alive? Yes. Did you think I wasn't? We had heard from the ravens that Erebor belonged to the dwarves again. Well, we're sharing. Hi, Thorin. Belmont, what the fuck? We came to a deal. A deal? He broke into our house and took all our shit.
Well, you broke into his house first.
Yeah, it turns out he lived here first. A while back, he had some eggs here. I don't care! He's a dragon!
You're an asshole!
You're a dwarf!
I can double on that. You're a piece
I don't care about any of this. I just want the head of the hobbit that made me shit for an entire night.
Come take it, glitter shits!
You're more than welcome to try, you rabbit sons of bitches.
You got what you deserve.
Oh, dragon. Thorin, son of Thrain, son of Thror, you are more than welcome, as are all of your people, to come here. It's just that we are going to be sharing Erebor between us, as well as, oh, there they are now. And you all see, joining the fray is a small... Calling it an army wouldn't quite be fair. More of a battalion, or more simply, just a clan of really weird-looking goblins riding on these blinged-out wargs, like these wargs covered in like diamond necklaces and jewelry.
Diamond dogs.
And they're riding up, and Smaug shouts, "Let the goblins approach!" And the goblins are then followed by spiders. And the spiders! And the humans are a little bit more wary about letting them through, and the elves and dwarves look fucking both furious and horrified. As this army of goblins and spiders crawls up to the mountain. Tavern Bowie gets off of his warg and does a very elaborate theatrical bow to both Belmont and Smaug. Well. Belmont Oakenshield, did not think you had it in you, babe, but there we are. Erebor. For all of us. Yes, provided that, we all live here peacefully together, no backstabbing, no preying upon one another. Of course. We've got an arrangement with the spiders and the wargs. We've shown them both how to hunt with us. We'll make sure that everyone's got game that they need. Belmont, you can't honestly expect us to live with goblins and spiders and the fucking dragon.
It's not so bad.
I mean, we were living with the humans well enough.
The dragon has shown us more hospitality than the elf.
She's right there.
Look, I already caught part of
You
it.
are excommunicated! And where the hell is my son?
It's not so
Would you
bad.
like to know,
You hear
Weatherboard?
a sick, nasty guitar riff. And somehow Legolas comes careening from above you all. with Kraben doing an acrobatic jump after him, and they both land. And Legolas flips up fucking like devil horns of his hand. It's like, sick.
Sotra stands between Legolas.
You'd be
I
surprised.
demand
how much-
satisfaction. I demand half of the dragon's treasure and this hobbit's head. And I demand my home and the dragon to die.
You're welcome to try.
Trust me.
What about the
It's
Rivendell
not true.
elves? Weren't they coming?
They were, but they've got farther to go.
Yeah. So you would rather put all of your people at risk to take a home that is being freely offered to you to share?
We don't bite, babe. I mean, the spiders do, but we've taught them not to.
Yes, we have learned how to cooperate. Yes, yes.
Yeah, we learned how to cooperate pretty well.
Look, I even taught Artemis how to tap dance. She holds out the spider.
Little spider does a little jig.
Don't make me use
And
that crap.
The spiders, the goblins, Belmont, Smaug, and even some of the people of Lake Town and some of the elves and dwarves can't help but go, ooh. And when you let Artemis do her little tap dance, a little tiny baby dragon slithers out, so I was like, oh! And the little dragon slithers out and looks up to Artemis, and the two of them start playing together because they're both little baby monster creatures. It's really cute. Thorin looks at this, just mollified. This is insanity.
You make one step towards the infant, your head will be on the floor before you can finish that step.
Have you? And this is Ronan the Upkeeper is like, have you so forgotten your people that you allow these creatures to live when they are vulnerable? These will grow up to be terrors.
Like you? You have grown up to be quite the terror.
Wow,
Smaug turns his head and says, I don't know, the only thing I've heard him terrorizing is a chamber pot.
Sotra full-on laughs at that.
Mimosa holds up a hand for the tiniest high five ever.
Smaug gives it. How dare you? What, you go to visit a dragon and don't expect to get burned?
I love this guy.
That's the offer. If you want to live in peace with us, you are free to live in peace. If the elves of Mirkwood want to make trade with us, though you showed us poor hospitality, we are open to trade with you, but that is how things will go under Erebor. Brother, you do realize you are not the heir of Erebor. I am. Well, brother, the way I see it, Erebor is owned by Smaug. And unless you can evict him, it remains his. And Smaug and I have reached an arrangement for all of us to be happy. You're stealing my birthright! I'm making a home for our people if they want it. It's not the home they had, but it is a home where they could learn to be better. From goblins and spiders and wargs and a fucking dragon?
And two hobbits.
Yes.
And wherever the fuck I'm from.
Brother, we've been living with humans for so long. Can't you see that we're better learning from other people? We shouldn't be shutting ourselves away in caves. We should know the world. Oh, I see. You've completely gone back on your people. Erebor remains under the tyranny of the dragon. And since we do not have the power to relieve it of such tyranny, I shall return to the Iron Hills. And Thorin swishes his cape and goes off. I still demand vengeance! This is Ronan the Elf-Cuser.
Come take it.
Ronan, buddy. Here, let me give you this stick. You ain't getting your vengeance. And there's a dragon right behind me. Now,
He grabs you Crambo and says, "One's good enough!" And he starts running off.
What did he do?
We're
He
on.
grabbed Crambone and he's running down the hill.
Hey, wait a minute!
All right, Mimosa's using that ring of jumping.
I'm
She's
taking the shot!
I'm fucking leaping at this dude. I'm tackling the Elf King.
I'm taking the shot.
I mean, Crambone's in range of that, okay?
It's just Eldritch Blast.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's not Shatter. It's just 2 shots. That's a 22 and a 15 to hit.
I'm gonna roll a dex so to see if I don't get shot.
Dorothy's just rolling to pounce.
Oh,
Same.
Crambo.
I'm kneecapping this motherfucker. Does a 22 and 15 hit?
Okay.
Ooh.
Mimosa, you managed to grab onto him, but you don't have the weight to push him to the ground, so now he's just got 2 hobbits.
Okay, she's gonna
and-
unsheath.
Okay, the first Silent Night hits.
What about me?
I shoot the guy in the leg.
What about
Alright. Dorothy, you also managed to jump onto him.
What about me?
Can I try to bite his face?
Well, Kay rolled first.
Yeah.
So Kay's blast hits him in the leg and does manage to, like, shatter his left knee. So with that, and then Sotra piling on, you manage to knock him to the ground. You're like, let's go, Dad! So you've got Ronan the Elf Accuser on the ground, and then a shadow looms over you all as Smaug's head is above you. Elf King, I would let the hobbits go. They're called hobbits! No, they're called hobbits. And I would let them go, or I will rain fire upon your army, then travel to your smelly little and burn all your wooden houses.
There's a lot of methane there too right now.
That'd be a good thing for a good pot roast. Why say pot roast? Smoke out.
Ronan the Elf Accuser sighs, lets go of Crambo, and the rest of you were able to get off. He hobbles to his feet. Shrieks in pain because his knee's been fucking broken.
Broken? That's
Zenova! I will have revenge! Ah! Here it is now! Look! He points. And you see a group of Mirkwood elves. They're not quite an army. And they're not in armor. You know, they've got weapons, but it looks like they've been trying to travel quickly as opposed to traveling for a fight. You know, the weapons are there for protection. The elves get through, and they get through the guards of Lake Town. And they arrive. And they're led by none other than Elrond himself. Elrond approaches, sees you all with the dragon, is like, well, this is going to need some explaining, but Elmont and your group, I have terrible news.
What's up?
Gandalf the Grey is dead.
What?
After you left, I received a summons. Gandalf the Grey had been tracking.
You keep cutting out, Gigi.
Sorry. After you left Rivendell, I received a summons. Gandalf the Grey believed there was someone of great wicked power working in the fortress of Dol Guldur. And so he asked for the council of Saruman, which includes myself, the White Wizard Saruman, and Lady Galadriel to help. And it turned out that the necromancer we went to fight was none other than Sauron himself.
Well, ain't that a kick in the shin?
At that, like, everyone, even, like, Ronan the Elf Accuser goes silent. And Smaug looks very grave. We did our best to fight him, and though we did manage to force him to retreat, Gandalf was fatally wounded. He is dead. And we have heard news of orcs and trolls traveling to Mordor. I think the next war may be upon us. I think there's a possibility that Sauron has found the ring. It's about to wage war on the free people again. Fuck.
And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
Oh,
Fantastic.
So the Battle of the Five Army becomes more a oh shit of the five armies.
Yeah.
I really wanted to pull out Kidney Stone and just aim it at Ronan the Elf Accuser while he's laying there and go.
But that would have been really horrible in front of his kid.
It would have. As soon as Legolas said Dad, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna do that.
As much as he deserves it. He's not doing it right in front of poor Legolas.
You know, I'm gonna make a wisdom save to see if Grambone gonna do something stupid anyway. Give him the opportunity. Let's see. Wisdom's my worst stat.
Holy shit,
Roll the 3. Great. As Grambone gets up, before the king gets up, he's just gonna kick him in the head. Nothing serious, but like the...
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
I'll allow it.
He grabbed you to try and kidnap you.
I mean, Arena.
I mean, he grabbed you and tried to execute you.
Also,
No.
I
feel like
imagine
it's
all
just
the armies
kicking
of Middle Earth have now just seen what a gun can do.
Oh my god.
Oh, so that's a gun.
And the One Ring, upon hearing this news on your fingers, well, that's it. How did? What?
This is getting interesting.
Yeah.
How did? What?
All right. So that was fun.
Good.
Very fun.
Great.
Yeah. We
I hope you
befriended
realize
Smaug.
you gave me 2 crabs, and I kept them alive.
Yep. You
That's
have
also
two.
running out.
You have
I thought
two
he-
crabs
I
that are
thought-
currently training in sword fighting.
I thought the ring would be brooding, but now he's just super confused.
He just got dunked on by everybody.
He got dunked on, and he got a bit of news that not even he would be expecting.
He is alive somehow.
Wait, but I'm right here.
Okay, as one who doesn't know about much about Lord of the Rings, is there 2 Sauron at once?
No.
So
Wow.
okay, so in like Sauron pours a great deal of himself, all of the text, like all of his malice, all of his hatred, all of his desire to dominate into the ring, so that even if he is mortally wounded, so long as the ring prevails, he can't fully die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, he can't fully die anyway because he's technically something akin to a god, but he can't like Morgoth, his sensei before, was destroyed to the point where he could no longer physically interact with the world. He could only manipulate things in a very minor way. Sauron would be destroyed even more utterly than that, where he could no longer interact with the world at all and just sort of watch it from the outside, cut off. Sauron doesn't want that. Sauron wants to win. So he poured a great deal of himself into the ring so that a part of him will always linger here and be able to respawn. Very, very, this is very much where D&D gets the idea of a lich. Evil wizard pours something of themselves into a piece of jewelry so that they can always res. Sauron, even though so in the books there is the essence of Sauron in the ring, and then there is the actual remains of Sauron, which eventually become the Necromancer and start leading armies in Lord of the Rings. Though the two are connected spiritually, they're not connected mentally. Sauron is unable to find out where the ring is other than sending people out to search for it. He can't sense it in any way.
Okay.
But he needs it, because if he has the ring, he can become whole again. He's no longer like a fraction of Sauron. He's the whole. Without the ring, he's like Voldemort. Without Voldemort post being killed by Harry Potter, sort of Harry Potter, he's just this shade that can kind of interact with things, but is nowhere near as powerful as he should be. Now, I've sort of massaged the idea of Sauron pouring his essence into the ring by giving the idea that the ring has a consciousness of its own. That's not quite textually accurate. Like, the book never has the ring talk to Frodo. but the ring definitely has enough of Sauron's malign soul in it to influence people just a bit more subtly. I've made the choice to have the ring talk to Arryn, one, because she's not of Middle-earth, so Sauron can't influence her the way he can influence, say, Frodo or Bilbo. And two, because I wanted to develop Sauron as a character more than he is in the text. I was going to say he's undeveloped in the text, it's that just that, like with the way the text develops goblins and dragons, it's very subtle, and I wanted to focus more on that because it just felt thematically more appropriate for where the story is going.
Agreed.
The big thing is that Sauron the Ring doesn't know what Sauron the Ghost is fucking doing.
Okay.
Sauron the Ring figures that Sauron the Ghost should have been looking for him this whole time. He spent hundreds of years with a creepy little freak who sits in a cave and eats fish and talks to himself.
Did he come up with the armies too?
Does he still have his pants on?
Yes.
Yeah. Gollum is here. Gollum is here with the fucking Misty Mountain Elves you did recruit with the Davrid Bowie tribe. So, monument of things that have changed. Instead of going to the Battle of Five Armies, the vast majority of the Misty Mountain Goblins have instead skipped ahead to joining Mordor. In canon, they join the Battle of Five Armies, get their asses kicked, go back to the Misty Mountains, and then have to be enslaved by Mordor into going back to war. The Misty Mountain Goblins, as general, don't like war. They prefer to live as bandits in the mountains. In canon, nobody dies when Gandalf and the Council of Saruman go to fight the Necromancer. This time, because Gandalf was a bit late, the Necromancer had more time to accrue power, and Gandalf bit it.
Oh.
But, you know, he bites it in Lord of the Rings, too, so...
Yeah. So he's actually going to come back to life earlier, possibly.
Yeah, who knows? Some other things have changed that I can't relate right now. The big one, obviously, is the fact that you guys...
Befriended Smog.
And some Misty Mountain Goblins, and some spiders. And you've got Rivendell elves on your side. The Iron Hills are now probably against you guys.
Fuck him.
As is Mirkwood, but you have the one Mirkwood elf who's, well, in this case, the two Mirkwood elves who are worth a shit, so...
You got three.
I think you mean three?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just thinking about NPC.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And we have a baby dragon now.
Yeah, there's a baby dragon. 1 out of 10.
I like that I started the conversation with Smog by shit-talking his interior decorating.
He was impressed.
And it worked.
Oh no, I know where the other
Oh, he just didn't know how to react to that. Who in their right mind would say gold looks bad?
To a dragon!
You know, if things hadn't gotten serious, immediately after, then the moment King What's-His-Face, Ronan the Elf-Accuser, had said, there's our reinforcements now, Dale Elves, Dorothy would have probably tried to wave to some of the ones she recognized.
Yeah. So yeah. My interpretation of Smaug here comes from a bit from the book, but it's also borrowing a little bit from Christ of Phylax Dives, which is one of the reasons I wanted to specifically homage him. Because, you know, I figured you guys would satisfy my Piss Wizard by trying to go peaceful of Smaug. And I looked at Christ of Phylax Dives for what a dragon who doesn't have to be killed is in Tolkien. Because, like, in Farmer Giles of Ham, instead of having to kill the dragon, Farmer Giles just fucking Bugs Bunnies him a bunch.
He does, it's really good.
Like, he just constantly cons this dragon out of shit, and eventually convinces the dragon to, like, fend off an ogre, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, the dragon's just like, you know what, buddy? You played the game well. I'm just gonna go back home. I'm not gonna mess with you humans anymore. I'm out. So, like, I was like, if there is benevolent, like a not have to kill bad guy Smaug,
he's gonna be in the vein of Christ of Phylax Dives, where he's still a bit of an arrogant prick, but he's kind of a likable arrogant prick.
He's a dedicated troll, and I respect that.
And what makes him get on your side is the fact that he's kind of impressed with how well you fuck with him.
And he has a son that is still alive.
And that was my big thing. So like the Arkenstone is really focused on a lot in the text of The Hobbit, and it's described as like this beautiful iridescent opal. And it's one of the focal points of the dragon sickness, i.e., the amount of the vicious greed that Thorin succumbs to. And so I thought, okay, what if we play with that in a smarter way than Peter Jackson?
Not hard.
Like, what if the opal is literally a dragon egg, and it's like, people always question why dragons, covet gold and all that. And it's like, what if the Erebor was just like a nest? And I started looking into the lore, and like the dwarves didn't settle Erebor until like fairly recently, and then got ousted fairly recently as well. Like Erebor's not a super, like, it's a couple hundred years old, but that's actually pretty young as far as kingdoms go in Lord of the Rings. And I found a great spot. It meant making Smaug a bit older in our story, because a young Smaug wouldn't make sense, but an old Smaug would. And that also allows Smaug to be, like, around during Sauron's, last attempt to take over the world. And I thought that was interesting, because, like, the big question of, like, why we should kill Smaug is that, everyone's worried that if Sauron rises again, Smaug would ally with him. But if you look at Smaug's character, it just doesn't really seem to make sense. Because Smaug's a dick, sure, but, like, he's not an ambitious dick. He just wants to sit on some gold and sleep for the most part. The only reason he causes any trouble in the actual text of The Hobbit, beforehand when he's taken Erebor, that's an unabashed dick move. But everything he does in The Hobbit itself is pretty much a reaction to a home invasion. Which, it's an overreaction, sure, but, like, it's a somewhat understandable one. He has mentioned that he's laid low the warriors. People have tried to kill him before. And they're always human or dwarf, so, yeah, if someone comes in, sneaking into your house, talking about revenge, yeah, you know what? Maybe those Lakemen deserve a thumping. You can kind of understand his perspective there. Smaug doesn't seem like he wants to go out and conquer. It seems like he just wants to be left the fuck alone. Which, like, I'm thinking about with Sauron, like, I don't think he would join Sauron. I think he would be too proud, and I think he just wouldn't be fucking interested in it. Glaurung worked for Morgoth because Morgoth raised him, and Calagon worked for Morgoth because Morgoth raised him. Nobody raised Smaug. Smaug just did his own fucking thing. I think if Sauron came up to him, he'd be like, shut the fuck up, you little prick.
We have an ancient red dragon as our ally.
So yeah, like, and I thought the idea of, like, the Arkenstone could be a dragon egg that originally Smaug, went to the Misty Mountains to escape Sauron, laid the egg. Later, the kingdom of Erebor is settled after Smaug has left, and he left for the protection of the offspring, because he knew that, like, if Sauron couldn't have him, Sauron would want his children. Because Sauron wants fucking dragons for his war effort. Mm-hmm. And, Glaurung was loyal because Glaurung was raised to be loyal. Calagon was loyal because then Calagon was raised to be loyal. It's very, Sauron, who failed to recruit Smaug, would be like, okay, I need to make my own then. Which, of course, he eventually does with the Fellbeast. So Smaug left, went to live with Cress of Phylax Dives, and then came back and found that his former house is now filled with fucking dwarves who've been living there for a couple centuries. And his eggs are nowhere to be found, and he's kind of pissed. And that's my idea of Smaug's side of the story in this canon.
If we too spoilery, but is it possible to find more eggs?
Let's just say that I didn't say that he left 10 eggs for no reason.
Oh, shit.
Like I'm thinking, it's like, is it 10 eggs or is it 1 egg and 9 Fellbeasts?
There's 9 missing, yeah. There's 9 missing.
9 missing eggs, 9 felt. Eventually, we just recruit everyone because Sauron's a dick. And if you want to work under a dick, we have a better dick.
I also like that Smog, like, came after all of us when Crambone got snatched. It's like, oh fuck no, you're not taking my friends.
Yeah, he came to help us.
I've only been listening to this little thing's music for 3 days, but I
And that's-
enjoy it.
Like, I mean, a lot of that is me, it's my piss wizard, but I think there is some textual basis for that. Like, Smaug has a very long conversation with Bilbo because Bilbo's interesting. And, like, I think that says that there has to be something about him that wants company. And if you think about how, like, the sides of evil are presented, Smaug probably hasn't had good company from any of the people on his supposed side. No one who's able to talk, and no one who's willing to talk about shit that isn't like, let's kill all the men and elves and take their shit. Like, there has to be some loneliness there. Fuck, he lives in a place called the Lonely Mountain.
Yeah, this was a good session. This is a really
It
good
was.
session.
This is good. I'm glad this actually lived up to my hopes. And it went in a lot of different directions, which also lives up to my hopes.
This was very Erina and Mimosa episode.
I was worried about the session both because Smaug's one of my favorite characters, and also because like I really didn't want it to force it to be something that's just for me. I wanted it to be something that was fun for everybody, and I think I feel good about how it turned. I hope you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, good time.
It was really good.
Do you want to sign off, TT?
Yep. Farewell, everyone. Next time we're actually in Lord of the Rings.
Woo!
Or are we? Because things have gotten really weird.
Also, have we leveled up?
No.